Shalom, 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 family. Shalom. Peace, peace. If I could be heard loud and clear, type of one in the room. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, please type of one in the room. The hell we talking about? Huh? Was there chattel slavery in Egypt? You got to be out your mind for this to even be a topic. What we doing? Huh? What we doing? Let me find all my resources and get everything situated real quick. Shalom, shalom. All right. Bam. Where are we? And boom, just like that, we are live. Thumb up the video and share the live, family. All right. All right. Everybody share the live stream to you guys social media outlets, please, family. Share the live stream on your social media outlets. Um and while we're doing that, let me send out the PowerPoint. Let me send out the PowerPoint. This is gonna be so easy, y'all. This is gonna be so easy. I can't believe what people are saying in what we call the conscious community. Is the conscious community really conscious? Is the conscious community really conscious? Because y'all got to be kidding me with some of the things that we're saying out here. Come to Chicago for that interview, fam. I would love to. Definitely will. Definitely will. Salute to you, Ak. Definitely will. Definitely will be coming back to Chi-Town. Love that city. Absolutely. I absolutely love that city. I definitely will be coming back. All right. Well, I thought I saw Mika here. Is Mika here? Mika, if you here, hit me up on Facebook so I could send you the link to let Mr. Garfield join our live presentation. I'm gonna go back to my Facebook and see if I could give me a couple seconds, guys. I don't really go on Facebook like that from my desktop. Let me go in here real quick. Shalom, shalom, consequence. I see you. I see you. And of course, my computer love running slow, boy. Let's go. Hurry the hell up with your nasty self. Hurry up. All right, there we go. I see you, Mika. Let me get you that link. All right, Mika, send this privately to Garfield. Don't put it in any public space, please. Send it privately to him. I don't want 30 people trying to join the live. So please, if you can, send it privately to him. But let's get it in. Our fight was rescheduled from 3 p.m. yesterday to 10 a.m. this morning. I don't know about the conscious community, man. I don't know about the conscious community, man. Are they really conscious? Dude, schedule a 3 p.m. fight for 10 a.m. I don't know what the hell kind of trick they got going on, But it ain't gonna work. I know that. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. I know that much. It ain't going to work. But I know one thing. I'm ready. I'm ready. Got the popcorn on standby too. Got the popcorn on standby too. Let's get it in. This gonna be so easy, guys. Like literally so easy. So easy. Like, what are we even talking about? That's how easy it's gonna be, guys. Like, what are we even talking about? Let me go to the share screen mode for a moment and waiting for Garfield to join the live stream. Let's go. Let's go. Waiting for Garfield to join the live stream. In the meantime, family, please thumb up the video and share the live. As promised, I'm right back. As promised, I'm right back. And I'm ready to get it in. And I'm ready to get it in. What time is it over there, Consequence? You said Garfield better show up. I'm at my family lounge and we all ready. Uh-oh. What time is it over there in Nigeria, my brother? He said we all ready. Salute to the family in Nigeria. Salute to the family in Nigeria. Oh, there we go. There we go. Introducing to the stage. We got our brother from the Dagger Squad. We have brother Garfield.
Hey,
Peace, peace, brother.
Hold on. Peace. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, good brother. We can hear you loud and clear. How you doing, man?
All right. Why you're a funny guy. You're a real funny guy. Why you try to put this out here like Garfield is agreeing with 100% of this the community and whatever as far as Kemet and Egypt and slavery and all these different things, and you don't even know my stance. So for the people who thinking that I'm not gonna say something that I don't know, I'm not gonna agree with something I don't know, but we're gonna have a conversation. So go do your thing, and I'll observe, and then I'll chime in when you need me to chime in, and say what I gotta say. All right.
All right. I respect that. So here's the first thing I want to say to you in response, right? We don't have a great past. We don't have a great relatability. That's no news to people, right? But we are men and we are grown, so we can be amicable when necessary, right? Me personally, I don't have a personal issue with you. Never did. Don't think we ever will. At times, I think sometimes some of the things you say tends to get personal, and I think that you might feel the same way. But I want to make it clear for the listening audience that I don't have a personal issue with you. So in response to your question, I'm not trying to actually paint any bad view of you. I am trying to the best of my ability to represent what you said is your position. And you said yesterday live that you don't necessarily agree that ancient Kemet practiced chattel slavery. Would I be incorrect when I say that?
No, you wouldn't be incorrect, but you gotta understand that I don't think we should see ancient cultures through the eyes of white European supremacy. So how they define things, I have a problem with that. And you are a staunch guy. Even when I said the term Middle East one time, you're like, oh, you're representing the white supremacy way. So I don't. Even when you and my Hebrew teacher had a discussion and he talked about matres lectionis, and he said, oh, this guy using Latin terms. And now you have on your flyer chattel, which is actually a origin from a Latin term. And then we're trying to impose that term and its current white supremacy definition on ancient Kemet. I have a problem with that. So,
Okay,
but anyway,
so let me
let's have
address
a conversation.
let me address Montes Lecciones really quick. So him bringing up Montes Lecciones was really, in my opinion, faulty and quite corny, because just because someone is unfamiliar with a Latin term to describe Hebrew grammar doesn't mean the person doesn't understand Hebrew grammar. Montes Lecciones, the mother of the reading, simply entails that there are various consonants in the language which also behave as vowels. I already knew that. I have lessons on YouTube going into that. What I was unfamiliar with is the terminology. So let's make
Okay,
that clear.
okay,
All right.
okay.
Let's
That's
make
fine.
that clear.
But he did use a Latin term, which is the point that I'm trying to make. And
Okay, okay. And
okay,
before we go all the way in, I want to kind of like build the conversation up to where it gets enough people in the room. So let's kind of build into the dialogue. The first thing I want to say is, what is your thoughts? And I think you kind of gave a little bit, but I'm still going to ask you, what are your thoughts on Jabari continually saying that if we equate the transatlantic slave trade with any enslavement practice in Egypt, we are doing Africans a disservice? How do you feel about that statement?
yo, I hate to be honest on Zalex's channel, man. But I say this. Tell me when I could say pass, and I'll pass. But anyway, let me do this just because, as people know, I hold to positions that's not regular. It's like Black History Month. It's like Black History Month had all these white scholars. People were offended, but on the other hand, the same people in the audience who say, "Oh, Garfield ain't ADOS. He needs to mind his business. He's not a black guy. He's not. He shouldn't talk about black stuff." So now that I bring white scholars on in February, oh, look what he's doing. I thought I shouldn't rock with y'all. So now y'all mad? Come on, man. Listen, this is what I say about Jabari, and I'll say this respectfully. I think Jabari is guilty of romanticizing Kemet. And the reason is like you might also be guilty of romanticizing Hebrew
Absolutely.
culture. All
Absolutely.
right. Remember, I got that tape with you on Sanjetti from 6 years ago. So anytime you say something and say I never said, I'll pull it out. I ain't ready to pull it out yet.
What I need you to do is pull the goddamn tape out so we can hear what you got. You know me, brother. I don't run from nothing.
Yeah.
You know that.
All right.
Matter of fact, you know it's in our genes as Yardis to not run from nothing. You know that.
All right. So this is what I say. Let me stay on topic about the whole Jabari thing. And I really don't like. I'm trying to stay away from talking about somebody from who's not here because I'm not too familiar 100% with Jabari's conversation. But if you're talking about specifically what you just said, I'll say this: that once you're teaching about Kemet and you're a practitioner, it's hard to be 100%. It depends on the individual. You know what I'm saying? So if I hold to a position that Jesus is historical, there's nobody in Dagger Squad that believes that except Garfield. So every day I'm fighting in my back chat against something that I hold. Now for years, I knew Jesus existed because I'm a guy that deals with the consensus, but I always fight that he doesn't exist. So for years, Divine beat me up one day and say, "Hey, I thought you was a consensus guy." And I had to shut up. I'm like, "Yo, you're right, bro." I say he's historical, but them stories is crazy. But as far as Jabari, I don't know. I can't read his mind. I'm just saying that we have to be careful when it comes. I'm gonna say this. You have to be careful when it comes to Kemet. You're into the language now. You're getting into the language. You have to be careful how people define stuff, especially when you're doing it from a Western mindset. I mean, I've been checked many times by African scholars who have inboxed me and checked me numerous times about coming from a certain angle or a certain perspective regarding cultures. Now with Egypt, which is the greatest empire that ever existed. Let me just say this to the Egyptomaniacs out there. I'm not an Egypt hater. What I'm saying to you guys is that we just need to be honest. That's all it is. We just need to be honest and go where the information says. If the information said there's slavery and the information says it's some sort of slavery that we could relate to, then we just gotta eat that as an African culture today. That's all it is. We ain't gotta be going around beating around the bush. Now, the only thing I want is fairness when it comes to our culture, the same way you would treat your quote unquote Hebrew culture. That's the only thing I ask for. Treat it the same standards that you would treat your culture that you uphold to. I would love for you. I can't force you. You're your own big man. I want you to hold to the same way how you hold to Hebrew culture, you hold to Egyptian culture, and give it the same respect. And that's all I want. But as far as Jabari is his own big man. He's gonna hold to. I'm gonna give a quick example so that you could talk. I don't want to be long-winded. During the debate with me and Reggie of Oliada Equiano, right? I hold to the stance, and I said this the morning on my Facebook before I debated Reggie. I said people are gonna be mad with me because of him being a top abolitionist. They don't want to bring out the truth about Oliada Equiano. The truth is that Oliada Equiano owned slaves after he became free. Right? Now, you know what Jabari said to me after the debate, bro? When I brought that out at the end, when Sanders said, yo, Garfield, you can't leave out of here without showing proof that Equiano ended up owning slaves. And I took the book from Reggie and I showed the page. I said, read this. This is what it says right here. He himself is saying that he did this. So you can't debate it. Now, Jabari said after the debate, I don't remember if it was on camera or not, that I think Reggie won because of what Equiano did for black people on a whole. Garfield shouldn't have brought this out. So now that is not based on truth. That's based on emotions. And I think a lot of that happens with the conscious community. But I'm going to end that right there. Go ahead.
All right. When you quote Equiano, what books do you draw from?
I draw from actually his book.
Which one?
The life and narrative of Oliada Equiano.
This one? This is a nice one too, a follow-up, also entitled The Kidnapped Prince, The Life of Equiano. I'm very familiar with Equiano, as you know as well. Me and Rabon had a little bit of fun with that. I hope to have Rabon on the channel soon, so let Rabon know that if he'd like a round two, that we could actually do it on my platform. But I'm going to use the time to do something that the community probably don't want to see, but I'm going to use the time to just build more. And then we're going to get into our disagreement. I see some people in the chat room saying too much buddy and too much agreeing. We came to see a fight, keep the same energy. Don't worry, family, we're going to get there. Once you put me and this man in the same room, we bound to have a disagreement. Just know that. But because we're adults, and a lot of people don't know, me and this guy got a lot in common. We have a lot in common. Like, we actually know each other before either one of us came in the conscious community. We both come from a background of promoting reggae music. When I first met Garfield was an event promoter in the Bronx, putting together big stage shows. And I brought artists some time ago to his platform, to one of his events. And that's how I met Brother Garfield. We know a lot of the same people. We come from a similar background. And to me, the craziest thing is we both got a son named Amir. Although I think my son might be older, he's 12, but it's crazy. We got a lot in common. So, you know, after establishing that, here's what I want to say to you, Brother Garfield. Since you can, you know, be proven to be honest, and I got to throw this in. I got to throw this in when you want to be, because that's how our community feels. Just like how you feel I am not totally scholastically honest, my community feels the same way about you. So I want to say this in speaking for my community. We know you can be honest when you want to be. So you absolutely and clearly just admitted that Kemet is not the romanticism that a lot of people push. And you also, and I realize because of the various friendships you have, you're going to steer away from making anybody look bad with anything that you can say based on the questions that I asked you. I know that. But you do know I'm a tactician. You do know that. So you know I'm going to throw those questions at you. And it's only right that I do, or else what the hell else are we doing here? The last question I want to ask you before I go into my proofs for today's discussion is simply this, Brother Garfield. You are a person that recently came out and said your reasoning for learning biblical Hebrew is because you understand that without learning biblical Hebrew, having a solid understanding of the culture and the history is probably much harder or more complicated. Would you agree with my statement?
Yeah, I think you know what? Not to be long-winded, because I just was long-winded. Sure, I would agree with that.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a simple question, and either your response or your no responding gonna let us know the real answer. How do you feel about Brother Jabari being a Kemetic priest and not knowing Medu Neter? In
Pass,
light of the fact,
pass, pass,
in light
pass,
of the fact
pass,
that
pass,
Mfudiji, hold on, let me just finish. You
pass.
could not answer, but let me finish my question. I still got to get
Mhm.
the question out. In light of the fact that when Mfudiji sat down with me, he said they got people running around here calling themselves Kemetic priests, and they don't know Medu Neter. Who you think he was referring to? We all know. And he said, how can you be a priest and you don't know the language? He said, if you are a Catholic priest, we expect you to know some Latin and Greek. If you are an imam, we expect you to know some Arabic. If you're a Hebrew or a rabbi, we expect you to know Hebrew. So, Brother Garfield, we got a question for you. You could answer or you could not answer, but I'm still going to ask the question. What are your thoughts on Jabari being a priest of the Kemetic system and admittedly not knowing the language?
Yeah. All right. Hey, enjoy your day, bro. Let me say this. African American Egyptian practitioners have a set of rules that's totally different than how we would look at Kemet in the ancient time periods. I think Jabari has the right to practice whatever he feels he's practicing and build whatever he's building. It is not me as a human being on the outside to judge him. I would allow Mfudishi and Baba Heru, who is his teacher,
Okay.
and others who are in the circle, the Earth Center, the Asar Aset Society, and those to pass that judgment on Jabari and not me. I won't. You know, I'm quick to take shots at Jabari. I don't have a problem with that on any platform. But I'll say this: Jabari is an African American Egyptian practitioner. That's not the same as somebody from ancient days. But if you're trying to say, hey, I'm trying to be Egyptian, listen, I don't know what rules they have or what they're trying to do. If there's a council that they have, like the Hebrews with Guerrilla Hebrew, trying to say they have some major council. I don't know. I know you're not a part of that craziness, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying, is there a council that they have? They're the ones to pass judgment on Jabari, not me. And I think his wife is knows enough Medjugorje to pass off for both of them. Shout out to Jabari's wife Anika, by the way.
Shout out to Dr. Onika. Had an
Dr.
excellent
Anika,
time with her and her husband, Brother Jabari, in Vegas. Let me say something. Me and Jabari have gotten past our ills and our woes, but as even he himself can tell you or the general public, that will not stop us from critiquing one another. Scholarship must go on, regardless of whether we have a newfound amicable stance with one another. As I apologize personally to him and his wife in person when we was in Vegas all over again. You know, we are amicable now, but it still doesn't stop us from critiquing one another. And notice, none of the things that I'm saying are personal. Everything I'm dealing with are scholastic questions. So that's my whole thing. I don't go into people's personal business too much. In the conscious community, in the street life, yeah, we're gonna keep it street and we're gonna be all the way street. But in the conscious community, I just feel we should keep it scholarly. So having said that, let me ask you a question. As we brought our live to a close yesterday, in agreement that we would meet up yesterday, I asked you a question that I threw shots in your direction when you left because you didn't respond to it. The question I asked you was, what is the definition of chattel slavery? And I will let you know, if you don't already know, that when you left, I threw bombs. I said the brother didn't answer the question. He doesn't know what chattel slavery is, yada, yada, yada. So I want to give you the opportunity to just tell us, because if you're going to say that chattel slavery, in your opinion, doesn't exist in ancient Kemet, I think the first thing that I should make sure that I know, as a person who has the proof that I'm about to show, I want to know if you know what the definition is, because with all of the proof that I'm about to show, for you to say that you don't think it exists, to me, would mean you don't understand the definition. So I want to give you an opportunity to clarify, what is your definition of chattel slavery?
Well, first and foremost, as I said early, chattel slavery, of course, that definition and how it's defined is something that's from the Western culture. All right. What we're trying to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, is define ancient African culture. And let me stress the African part in a way from a European lens, which is something that my brother Zion has often said. Garfield is coming from the Western view, from the European eye set, white supremacy. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So now I don't think we should define chattel slavery based off of the fact that we should have to define it, because we know what it has to do with. It has to do with somebody being rendered as personal property to someone who is supposedly a master, a slave master. I don't think there's chattel slavery in Kemet based off of that. And hold on a second. Let me bring up something on Wikipedia real quickly.
Okay.
Slavery in ancient Egypt. Let me just bring up something real carefully.
Yeah, share your screen. Right. I'll add it to the stream.
All right, yeah. I'm share my screen 1 second. Let me do this. All right, here we go. Let me share my screen. All right. Hold on 1 second.
I also want to say to you, just really quick, while you're getting your screen, be careful with some of the things that you say, and you might be getting in trouble already. Because I could tell you right now, I have the Medu Neter term for chattel slavery in the dictionary with the inscriptions to show you that even they use the term chattel slavery.
You see, that's the problem, though. You know why that's a problem? And I'm going to tell you why. You're going to show me a term for chattel slavery in the Medu Neter, right? I don't speak Medu Neter. I don't read it. Somebody who I can't challenge that, because I'm not a Medu Neter guy. Because you know what? You might be right. But how can the word be for chattel slavery when that term itself never existed? That means they're forcing a word to mean that. That is wrong.
Let me respond to you on that.
Go ahead.
Let me respond to you on that. That's a great question. Your question is centered around, okay, from what we know, chattel slavery is a newfound term that develops in the West with reference to the transatlantic slave trade. And what I'm trying to point out to you is it's actually not, because you can find the very same term used in the Medu Neter to refer to the owning of cattle and the owning of men. It's the same exact term used in the Medu Neter, which means that they recognize the term in Middle Kingdom inscriptions and primarily in New Kingdom inscriptions, beginning with Thutmose III, where they began to deal with foreign slaves as chattel. They use the same word for chattel or cow, the rearing of cow as personal property. The same word is used in the Middle Kingdom period, but primarily in the New Kingdom period to refer to slaves as personal property. So that would mean, even though chattel slavery as a word is new for the English paradigm, the concept is not new, because we can clearly find it demonstrated in Kemet in action, and we also can find it coined in the language.
Okay. All right. So let me just add my screen real quickly. Because this is what I feel. You know, my brother made a statement one time, and I'm talking about Zion Lexx, about the King James Bible, right? And you said it should. I'm not even going to repeat exactly what you said, but basically you're saying that.
I want you to repeat it so that people can be reminded of how I feel about it.
No, I'm not doing that. Transliteration. You got brother Daniela in here. I'm trying to keep it civil and crazy.
No, I mean, that's my brother, and we agree where we agree. But you know, I respect our differences. We are more than amicable. That's my brother. Like, I got a lot of respect for our priest Daniela. But we differ on certain things, and we don't always have to agree with everything. And you know, if he goes hard on something that I differ with him about, I'm not going to take it personal, because I realize that's my brother, and I believe he won't take it personal too, because we are so far in developing, knowing one another. Like, we actually speak offline, so we know each other so much that it's not an offense, you know, to have differences. So it's okay.
All right. So watch this. So the King James translation is horrible. He would said he would wipe his butt when he's using the bathroom with it. He's wiping his ass with the pages. That's how bad it is. Now watch this. How do we determine with the Medu Neter and these dictionaries that we're using, how do we determine which one is toilet paper worthy and which one is not toilet paper worthy? My point is for somebody to use the word equivalency with chattel slavery, because ladies and gentlemen, if you go back to Petrie days, right? And for those who don't know, Petrie's cousin was connected to what's the guy that deals with evolution? I forgot what his name is. What's his name? Anyway, whatever his name is. And what happened is the guy who used to fund Petrie used to work with the University of College of London. And that's a guy that a school that is connected to Michael Rice and to David Rowe and all those people. And if you look at those people that come out of those areas, they always have some sort of European leaning to their scholarship. Always. But watch this. When they were funding Petrie used to say that the people were not indigenous Africans originally. He said that the ancient Egyptians. I'm echoing. I don't know why I'm echoing. I don't know if your YouTube is up.
No, my YouTube is totally down. Family, if you guys hear Garfield, if Garfield is echoing, type a 1 in the room. That way we can figure out what's going on really quick. I want to make sure he's clear. If Garfield is echoing, type a 1 in the room. Also, I'm going to add your thing to the stream.
Yo. All right, here we go. All right. No, actually, I'm not reading from Google, my brother. This is from the top of my head. All right. So what I'm saying is that when we look at damn, I lost my damn train of thought. But basically, I wanted to say that if the translation, how we know with Petrie, okay, I was talking about Petrie. The guy that was funding Petrie was a racist, right? And that gentleman, at that point, when they were funding Petrie, his views is that indigenous Egyptians didn't have anything to do with Egyptian society. It was some other people. He didn't say Mesopotamia. He actually said from northern Syria, right? So later on, he changed after Mackenzie or whatever the guy's name is came and showed him the artifacts and the skulls and different elements of anthropology and archaeology and so forth. He changed his position. So now, when you look at Petrie and how Egyptology is run, you don't know which point of view is going towards a damn definition of what's going on in a dictionary. So what I'm saying to you is, that's why I said to you originally, I hope you hold to the same standards that you would hold for your Hebrew culture, you would hold for Egyptian. All right. But you said the word chattel is in there. All right, let's get it in. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear your arguments. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, my argument is just saying that I don't think, because I'm biased, I'm saying that I don't think what the transatlantic slave trade, I don't think it's similar to that. That's basically my thing. But I know I see you put in the topic branding. I already know there was branding in Kemet. That's not new to me. I already know there were people in there that were taken as captives or people within the own Egyptian culture who were held as servants or whatever. I already know all of that. So let me see what's new you're going to bring to the table that I disagree with, that I could possibly have a conversation. But if it has to do with the Mejanetta, I'm not even going to debate you because I don't know nothing about no Mejanetta. But continue, my brother.
All right. Appreciate that, man. We got to do more lives, brother. I actually enjoy this. All right. My PowerPoint is open. Here we go. All right. So as everybody could see, the topic is, did Egyptians practice chattel slavery and the branding of slaves? Now, I added that in because a lot of people aren't aware of the branding of slaves. Now, you are a person that has studied ancient Egypt, so you are aware, you know ancient Egyptians were branding slaves, but a lot of people don't know that. So because a lot of people don't know that, to add to the catchiness of the topic, I made sure to include that. Here's the first thing I'm going to say. We're going to look at a working definition for chattel slavery. As you guys always hear me say, definitions bring us to a place of discernment. Therefore, before we talk about anything, we have to first make sure we are defining things correctly. Watch this. In chattel slavery, the enslaved person is legally rendered the personal property of the slave owner. Do you agree with that, Brother Garfield?
The enslaved person is legally rendered the personal property of the slave owner. Yeah.
Okay, so watch this now. In chattel slavery, throughout history, but especially and even in America, slaves were brought and sold as personal property. Slaves were branded with owners' names or initials. The slave was enslaved for life, and even children inherited the enslaved status. Slaves were stripped of their names. These are some of the core themes of the chattel slavery, which takes place in the transatlantic slave trade. Is my premise that everything Europeans were doing to Black Americans and our Africans of the diaspora throughout the West Indies and wherever we may scatter, is it my premise that everything that the Europeans did, the people of Kemet did? Absolutely not. And here's the first obvious reason why. The anomaly between the practice of slavery in Egypt versus the practice of slavery in America is that Egyptians enslaved people that look just like them, mostly. Yes, they also enslaved people of lighter complexions and hues, such as the Libyans, such as people deep in Mesopotamia that were Indo-Aryan, absolutely. But the main anomaly that might differentiate the chattel slavery in America versus Egypt is that Egypt enslaved people that look just like them, beginning with Nubians. As you guys are about to see, I'm going to show you images with citations of Nubians in the slave markets in Egypt. And in fact, Egypt's oldest captive and enslaved people are in fact Nubians. Let's also make sure that we know that. So I want to first define for you guys that the burden of proof that's upon me is not to show that everything that Americans were doing or slave masters were doing in the transatlantic slave trade happened in Egypt. That's not my burden of proof. My burden of proof is to show that the core essence and theme of chattel slavery as practiced in America was also practiced in Egypt. That is my burden of proof, and I can absolutely and will absolutely show and prove.
Repeat that last part. Repeat that last part. Say that again. The last paragraph.
The burden of proof. All right. The burden of proof that is upon me is not to prove that everything that the slave masters in the West did to the Africans of the diaspora is the same thing that Egyptians did to captive slaves. That is not my burden of proof. My burden of proof is to prove that the core essence of chattel slavery, meaning slaves being bought and sold as personal property, slaves being branded with owners' names or initials, slaves being enslaved for life, slaves being stripped of their name, their culture, etc. That is the core theme of chattel slavery. Chattel slavery regarding someone as your personal property, the things that you look to do is, in order for you to understand that you are my personal property, I will absolutely change your name. In changing your name, I'm letting you know that you have a new identity. You are also, because I'm going to give you a Kemetic name, which I'm going to show you guys how all these things played out. So this is my burden of proof. And let me move on really quick. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is a primary relief in ancient Kemet, which shows Nubians being bought and sold in the slave markets in ancient Egypt. You can find this wall relief throughout many museums online, or you can see this obviously in ancient Kemet itself. The slave market in ancient Kemet is full of not just captives, prisoners of war, but even some of the people in Kemet who, because of a failure to practice ma'at, doing something blatantly wrong against law or any legal code, they too can be forced into chattel slavery. Now watch this. As we all know, demonstrated by the picture you can see here, no citation needed for this. We all know what the slave markets in America looks like. That's why I said no citation needed for that, because this is common knowledge, and there's no citation needed for common knowledge. I don't need a citation to say that the sky is blue. It's common knowledge about what occurs in the slave markets in America. But what I'm bringing to your attention, family, because a lot of people don't talk about this, is ancient Egypt also had slave markets. In fact, the Nubians that everyone in the conscious community, virtually everyone, is bragging about being the mother of Kemet, Kemet had great relations with, you guys need to know that the Nubians are called in the Medu Neter Nihisu. Nihisu, which means the wretched ones, the vile ones. Even the name Nubia, as Garfield could tell you, me and him had a conversation on the street about this a couple of years ago, in one of our debates on my book, whether or not my book was plagiarized. In that debate with Brother Garfield, I brought up something to him later on that evening. I said, if you check the name Nubia, you would see that it's not a term of endearment, of which he agreed. He even said, my brother Miro, and stop me if I'm wrong, Garfield. He said, my brother Miro or Meru, I'm not sure how you pronounce the name. He said, if Meru was here, he would agree with you, Zion. You're absolutely right. Nubia is coming from the Egyptian term nub, which is gold. And you can find several inscriptions and wall reliefs of how ancient Egyptians continually invaded Nubia and exploited the people of Kush or Kash, Ethiopians, of some of their chief resources, of which gold was. So all these black women walking around and black men walking around bragging that they are black Nubian kings and queens, it's a testimony to our ignorance of history, because no Nubian, quote unquote, would have ever self-identified as a Nubian. It is not a term of endearment. It's a term which represents how Kemet exploited the people of Ethiopia for one of their chief resources, which is gold. Even Taseti, that we love to brag about, the land of the bow, we refer to many of those people as Nihisu, which is the wretched or vile ones. So I'm also giving you guys a backdrop of some of the political turmoil that makes enslaving Nubians, quote unquote, so easy for people of Kemet to do, because they did not regard them with the same love affair that you see a lot of Afrocentrists teaching today. Absolutely, Brother Garfield. Go ahead.
All right, let me ask you this. All right, so you show this picture and everything. I actually have Magi Jonathan Owen's book right here, right? And he actually talks about this dialogue with Dr. Wesley Muhammad. And let me ask you a question, because I think it's unfair, because Jonathan is saying something in opposition to what you're saying. Now, do you have that image with the actual Medu Neter that you could show us and read for us? That image with the Nubians, because he's saying something totally different based off the records, because he's saying there's Nubians there, there's Asiatics there. It wasn't only Nubians there.
No. This is okay. Not to, so I want to make this clear.
That image, hold on, that image you're showing is trying to imply that was those Nubians that in that image were slaves, and that they were you're showing that they had slave markets. So I would love for you, because this is what I want to do. I'm here to learn too. I'm not going to be egotistical and act like I know every damn thing. I'm asking you can you do this for us? Can you put up the actual glyphs and show us what it says on the glyphs and what they're trying to tell us about those particular people, and break it down? Because for that scene, based on what Jonathan Owens from the Amira Squad says, it doesn't say that they're slaves.
What does he say it says? Let's first start there. It says?
Hold on. Before I go there, I'm making a request. Before I say anything, I'm just making a request, because he actually shows.
All right.
It actually shows the scene from Dr. Wesley Muhammad. He was doing the same thing you're doing by saying that they were enslaving other Africans and making the point that they were slaves. So I'm trying to figure out, because you could read the Medu Neter. So I'm asking you.
I don't have the full inscription. I don't have the full relief with the Medu Neter inscription. If I did, we could absolutely read it. So do you have it on the screen? If you have it on the screen, I'll pull it up and read it live right now. We can start.
No, I don't. But I think it's this is my whole thing. The only reason why I came live, because I want to see you put the evidence out, not for me, because whether they're doing it or not don't make a difference to Garfield, because I don't rep Kemet. I just want the truth to come out, and I want to be here to see you push the truth. So if you by you showing that glyph, I think that's kind of like giving us the impression that that particular image. So I think it's unfair to show that image from an objective point of view. I'm regurgitating how you act now, because you like to say objective. So in Zion's words, to be objective, and this is fair to everybody, because people are going to watch this.
So let me interject. Let me interject and share my thoughts on what you're saying. So let's be clear. I am not saying that this image of Nubians in the slave market is representative of Nubians being the only one in the slave market. Number one, this image is from the New Kingdom period, right? That's number one. In the New Kingdom period, it is clear to anybody that knows Egyptian history that there are far more people enslaved than Nubians. In fact, as you should know, most of the people that were enslaved between the Middle Kingdom period and the New Kingdom period were actually Asiatics, which actually gives the Bible story great credence in terms of the numbers. The bulk of people enslaved in ancient Kemet between the Middle Kingdom period and the New Kingdom period are entirely Asiatic. Asiatic outnumber people that are slaves, we want to say as easy as 10 to 1. That's how far. Having said that, let me just say this last point. Having said that, now, I am not trying to misrepresent the scenery. I am not trying to suggest that Nubians are the only ones enslaved, but I am pointing out that the Nubians that everybody loves to brag about, all the Afrocentrists, as you know, always push and teach in romanticist spirit that Kemet has such a love affair with them. I am evening out the dialogue by doing something that they're not doing, which is being totally honest or objective. Because if you study the history, you would know that Nubians, number one, were considered foreigners to the Egyptians by the Egyptians. The Egyptians referred to them as foreigners. The Egyptians also referred to them as their classical enemies. Nubians are one of the 9 bowls. So there's a reason why I'm building this up. There's a reason why I'm building this up.
Okay. The reason why I'm trying to interject here, because even in what you were just saying, you're saying the slave market. So you're calling that scene again, whether it's on purpose or accidental, you just call it a slave market. So what I'm trying to figure out here, and let me just read what Jonathan wrote. This is page 276, the Magi, a handbook for the conscious community, and I urge everyone to get a copy.
Could you take a screen? Hold on one second. Could you take a screenshot of it and put it up so we all can look at it together? Let the people see what we're looking at.
All right, cool. All right, let me do it right here. My scanner right here. Hold on there.
Perfect. Let's do that.
I know. Hold on. Let me scan it and see what we're looking at right here. Hold on there 1 second. Let me figure this out.
Guys, if you in the interim, guys, if you're enjoying this, show your love. Hit that donation. Come on, family. Hit that donation. You got brother Garfield in the room on my platform. What are we doing, guys? Come on. Hit that donation. Show some love. If you're new to this platform, hit the subscribe button.
Hold on, let me see if I'm like.
Thank you, Sister Mika. Thank you, Sister Mika. I got your donation. Thank you. Peace to Captain Tazariak in the building. Oh shit. Peace to Captain Tazariak in the building. Shalom to the chat, he said.
All right, so that's one page. Let me scan the next item. Hold on 1 second here.
It just got interesting. All
right, hold on there. Damn, I don't know how I'm gonna do
Sorry,
this.
I'll post that link for that beard oil, man. I might need some of that oil, brother. Post that link for that beard oil. Let me give the brother a little endorsement, man. Post your link for your beard oil, brother. I'm hearing that it's what's up.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Garfield's book is finally coming out on June 18th.
And all right.
You're gonna oh snap. Let me see if there's another page that I need to add. All right, so we have the transliteration. Hey, we got some facsimiles here. So let me do this. So Garfield is scanning on the spot, on color scanning. All right, here we go. Let me see here.
I just made you a moderator, Captain Tazariak. I just made you a moderator. So if you'd like to post your link, you could absolutely do it.
And by the way, hey, I can't wait for you and the captain to sit down, so Captain could whoop that information you got, because I'm rocking with the New Testament. I'm rocking with the Messianic.
Man, man, I'm scared of Captain, man. I don't know if I'm gonna sit down with him. I gotta admit, that's the one guy I'm dodging, man. Y'all got to chop this up. Make sure y'all chop this up. That's the one guy I'm dodging, man. I don't want to sit down with Captain. Y'all gotta be out y'all goddamn mind. Salute to the Captain, but we are amicable as well, probably more than others. And we just, our thing is, he said Garfield starting shit. Our thing is, we just understand that there's a bigger enemy, right? We don't have an issue with dealing with one another, but we just feel like there's a bigger enemy, right? That's something that I continually push. All right. Zariak says, Zion, no one believes you. Shut up.
All right, cool. All right, let me see if I could share this on the screen real quickly. Although some of them is sideways. Let me do this real quickly here.
All right.
All right, I'll call it the Magi PDF. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. Here we go. All right, so let me see if I could share this real quick.
By the way, shout out to my brother, Chief Uzael Ben Lewi. Shalom.
Hey, one more thing. Before we can you share that screen? I was supposed to share this earlier and we forgot where I got the screen shared. Can we just share this real quick? This definition of ancient Egypt and slavery real quick.
That's the one that has the Wikipedia, because
right, the one that you read yesterday.
Okay, all right. That's on it should be sharing right now. You should be able to see in a couple seconds.
All right, so there we go. I just wanted to show that slavery in Kemet, right? This Wikipedia article you showed yesterday. It talks about chattel slavery. So let's go to chattel slavery for a second. It says the chattel slaves were mostly captives of war and were brought over to different cities and countries to be sold as slaves, right? Well, that don't have a source anyway. But anyway, all captives, including civilians not a part of the military forces, become a royal resource. The pharaoh would then resettle the captives by moving them into colonies for labor, giving them to temples, giving them as rewards to deserving individuals, and giving them to his soldiers as loot. Some chattel slaves began as free people who were found guilty of committing illicit acts. I want you to explain that when you get a chance. They began as free people. So that means in the society.
I explained that. I explained that when I said that some of the people who were regarded as chattel slaves were people who were actually free people in Kemet, such as native Egyptians or other residents living in Egypt.
Okay.
And these are people who were not prisoners of war, but these are people who violated laws in ancient Kemet that forced them into servitude and bondage.
All right. So you can share that right now. Just the stuff.
Okay, go ahead. Shout out to brother Jonathan Owens as well.
Yeah. The reason why and when you talk to Kemet, I always refer to Jonathan Owens. One, because he's an African American, he's a black author, and sometimes hearing stuff from non-Europeans is good. And I hope that the sources brother Zion using does reflect an Afrocentric view or African-centered view in some instances, because sometimes when we use the Europeans and they try to interpret African systems to us, they kind of do it wrong. But anyway, this is what it looks like.
Garfield, blow up the page. The people are saying they can't see it, so blow it up.
All right, hold on a second. Let me see how I do this. Hold on a second here.
Also, family, if you on the live right now and you have not hit that like button, what are you doing with your life? Show some love, y'all. Hit that like button, man. We have over 100 people in the building right now, so our count should match the likes in the room. Family, y'all know how this works. YouTube's algorithm picks it up and the video is seen and shared more easily. So please, if you're in this room and you're watching it live, everybody's not able to donate monetarily. So if you want to contribute, the way you could contribute is sharing the live and hitting the like button. My apologies, brother Garfield. Get it in.
All right. Let me do this. All right.
Perfect.
Is that showing good?
Perfect.
Hold on a second here. Let me take a look at this. All right, here we go.
If you want, I could move our faces so just the image is shown. That way more of it can be seen. Want me to do that?
Yeah. All right. So what I'm gonna do anyway, because I have the book in my hand, so I'm actually
Okay.
gonna read it so that there's no problem. Now, this is the image that my brother. Is this the same image that you showed my brother?
Same exact image, absolutely.
All right. So let me just read this. In part one of Kemet, Nubia, and Black Slavery Revisited, it was illustrated how Dr. Muhammad, talking about Wesley Muhammad, misused source material to paint a picture that suited his argument. Most of the photos were of war captives, and almost all of them were cropped images that excluded portions showing Asiatics in the same relief. Dr.
Okay.
Muhammad equated this scene to a scene on the Middle Passage slave ship. This
Mm-hmm.
photo is from the east wall, southern part in the second courtyard, KV 57, the tomb of Horemheb. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
You
Please see the
pronounced it right, General Horemheb.
right. Okay. So please see the breakdown of this inscription work of Kinnear. In his breakdown, Kinnear makes effort to never use the word slave to represent captured Nubians. He calls them prisoners. Kinnear used the word servant on low-rank members of Egyptian officialdom. There's other evidence to show this was a Nubian wrestling team. Horemheb was a general of the Egyptian military before he became pharaoh. These accounts are of his military expeditions. Horemheb was the royal spokesman for Egypt's foreign affairs and led the diplomatic mission to the Nubian governors that resulted in the visit of the Prince of Mame, as seen depicted in the tomb of. Remember, the Prince of Mame was a Nubian, Heka Nefer. Heka Nefer's procession brought gifts to Tutankhamen. Hey, I'm chopping up these names. Don't worry about it. The author of Kemet, Nubia, and Black Slavery cropped a portion of 9 captives from the register in the relief of the tomb of Hoy to paste into his document as evidence for slave raids. This was not a slave raid. This is not evidence of an institution of slavery in Africa. The true scene depicts Libyan, Nubians, Asiatics bow before Tutankhamen after passing through the inspection of General Horemheb. Over and over again, we see Dr. Muhammad display a limited knowledge in the field of African studies. From distorted accounts of Pepi II to Senwar III, we see him misrepresent military campaigns as slave raids. Even a title like Imperial Kemet and the colonization of Nubia implies that Muhammad does not know on what accord Kemet was first colonized by Nubians. In the document, we can see the quote that he, Senwar III, and the whole dynasty were themselves Nubian descendants. No Egyptian pharaohs were most all Nubians until the Hyksos invaded. In fact, one of the most known pharaohs, if the 14th dynasty, was named Nehisi the Nubian. The term dynasty was coined by Manetho to mean a family of rule. So then the 14th dynasty were Nubians, as stated by the father of the dynasty, Nehisi, not descendants. Let me go back to something real quickly. When I read that there is other evidence to show this was a Nubian wrestling team, he didn't show that. I see you laugh and all that stuff, but I don't know. I don't have anything in here to imply that they were. He just said that there was other evidence that was pointed out.
Can I just say something quick about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to say something. The reason why I laughed and several other people laughed is because we know a picture is worth 1,000 words, but we also know pictures can be deceiving. So we're not going to be little kids and suggest that a picture alone is sufficient to convey something, which is why the question you asked is an amazing question. Are we going to show the metal nature, right? But I do want to point something out about the picture, because on the screen, literally people can see that the man is holding a whip. Register.
Hello?
He's taking a register of all the slaves. The person, I'm going to say it again. The person behind the man with the whip, he's holding a register in his hand. He's writing down a list of everyone that is in the market. That is normal, by the way. Again, you even find that in America. Then there's a man holding a whip. He is beating them if, in fact, they get up or try to resist or move from the sale. Same thing you find in America. So the fact that he said that there's some evidence that points that this might be a Nubian wrestling team, you got to understand, for people with eyes and for people who can go back and research this, this is going to make Jonathan's book look hella crazy. I don't think that was a good look for Jonathan's book to include that this is a Nubian wrestling team, possibly. I just want to say that.
No, he never said that though. You're misquoting the whole thing. He basically just said that this is what he said though. There's other evidence to show this was a Nubian wrestling team. What we need to ask is what is that evidence? But he's not saying that. All right, but let me go on to say this.
Hold on, because I just want to be clear on something.
Mm-hmm.
You said Jonathan wrote that there's other evidence that shows this could be a Nubian wrestling team, right or wrong?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's what he's putting forth in his book. I'm not saying that he is saying based on his own scholarship. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that he actually entered in a book that he's selling to people, that the image that we're looking at, there's evidence elsewhere, which he clearly doesn't cite in his book, or else he'd be talking about it in the book. But he simply says there's other evidence which might suggest that this is a Nubian wrestling team, of which I simply want to add, as much as I respect Jonathan's knowledge of the Medu Neter, I think that that's a horrible look for his book to actually put in there that this scenery is a Nubian wrestling team.
Okay. All right. Let me also say this. This is why it's important that if we're going to present stuff about the Medu Neter, right? Mm-hmm. It's good if we're going to have images that have the actual Medu so you could read it. So this is why I actually asked for it, because I have the book here, and when you brought the picture, I said, oh, let me grab the book and look for this image and see what's being said in here. But I'm saying that to say, by you saying it's a slave raid or they're selling slaves, we don't know. I know you see the person writing. I know you see the whip. I don't know. So maybe if we had the Medu Neter below for you to read, we could say what it's saying. And that's all I was saying. But anyway, I'm
actually pulling it up. I'm actually pulling it up behind the scenes. We're gonna get to do that today. I'm gonna pull out the Medu Neter on this because I think what Jonathan is doing is really bad, especially for his level of scholarship. Like what he put in the book as far as this representing possibly wrestlers, a Nubian wrestling team. I don't think that takes away from the fact that he's still a scholar of Medu Neter. I just simply think that was just such a horrible move on his part. But let me do that while we're waiting. I'm going to pull up the Medu Neter, attempt to pull up the Medu Neter behind the scenes on this one while you're giving your presentation. And I'm going to look at the Medu Neter and read it. We're going to do that live. But go ahead, Brother Garfield.
No, I'm good. I already read everything. I'm good.
Okay. Oh, all right. So let me share my screen and show you what part of the Medu Neter is actually visible. Right? Let me do that for the people. You know, people don't know, man, that I ain't picked up Medu Neter last year. As Chief Uzael, who's in the building, could tell y'all, I've been secretly learning Medu Neter for the last 5 years. And I was able to learn a hell of a lot within that time spans. And I was able to demonstrate my knowledge by doing things that you don't even see some of the grandmaster teachers of Medu Neter doing. So that's hell of respect given and rightfully should be shown to me in that respect, to be learning a language in less than a decade and being able to demonstrate it publicly in ways that most people who push this particular culture don't even do. But let me do this really quick. All right, so let's read the Medu Neter and look at that which is visible. So let me blow it up nice and big. Bam! Can everybody see my screen? The hell we doing? Zion don't read Medu Neter. What? The hell are we doing? We can't read this? All right, so watch this. So from what we see on the you see, let me say this while we're talking, right? What Jonathan put in his book might have been easy to get away with Wesley Muhammad, because Wesley don't actually do Medu Neter. He gonna have a lot of problem doing that shit with me because I read the Medu Neter. So he's gonna say pull up the full scenery. And if you look at the full scenery in the Medu Neter, then it might possibly give you a greater backdrop, which I have to agree. But I want to say this. I don't know if what we have here is the full scenery, but I do know right now, if you type in Nubians in the slave markets in Egypt, this is the picture that you get. And this is the best of the Medu Neter that you get. Everybody could do it right now to prove me wrong. If anybody can show more Medu Neter on this particular scenery, send it to me live right now. That way I can read it for the people. If not, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing right now. So this right here is the Ah, and it's cut off. I can't tell what's above it. The outstretched arm here is A. It's cut off though, so I can't tell what's above it. Then you have the symbol Per, which is house. And then you have the water ripple, which is N. So that means house of. And then you have the glyph or the determinative for Neter or God. And then you also have the determinative for God, the seated male, the seated deity with the gold T. So this is Per N Neter, or the house of God. And then you see the Hotep glyph. I can't make out what this glyph is to the left. It also seems cut off. But this, for a fact, I know resembles the heart glyph. So far, I see Per N Neter, which is the house of God, and then the glyph for Hotep. And then here you have the Ka, which usually denotes a number, which is 1,000. And then you have the recumbent lion and you have the eagle. But again, this is cut off, so I can't tell exactly what it's saying. But I do know that this side is far more legible, and it's saying the house of God, Hotep. So I'm sure it's part of a larger scenery, but until we actually get the full picture, nobody knows what it says. So I think it's very convenient that brother Jonathan would say that, even though the thing that Jonathan should have did in his book, and he clearly didn't do, Jonathan should have actually, let me make my screen smaller so everybody can see. Jonathan should have put the full inscription, since he does do Medu Neter and people respect him as such. Even I respect Jonathan's knowledge of Medu Neter, but he would have did a greater service if he would have actually put the Medu Neter inscriptions in the damn book, so people could compare and contrast and see what he was talking about. So now let me go back to what I was doing, since what Jonathan didn't work. Let me go back to what I was doing. Shout out to brother Garfield, man.
But hold on, just to be clear though.
Yeah.
So you're saying that scene is what? What are you saying that scene is?
Well, so it's not simply what I'm saying, but the academic record is reflecting this, right? This is a scenery of slaves in a slave market. The picture focuses on Nubians. Like, you do know you don't see Asiatics in that picture, right? Or should I pull it up again?
Okay.
Should I pull it up again, or are you saying Asiatics are in that picture?
Okay. So you have, so are you showing the primary, or are you just saying?
The primary is gray, so it's hard to make out faces. So I have a colorized version of the primary, but the primary has lost its color. As you know, wall reliefs are weathered.
So let me ask you this then. So is it fair to say that if we don't know what is going on there, we shouldn't? I'm talking to you now. Is it fair to say we don't know what it is?
Absolutely not fair to say. That's incorrect. In fact, if that's
I don't know what it is.
Let me answer you. Well, you don't know what it is in part because you don't do Medu Neter in part. So I'm saying in part.
Hold on. So in the Midjanetta, it says that they're slaves.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that the first reason why you would struggle with what's going on here is because if we can actually go back and look at the Medu Neter screen, no matter what the picture says, you still can't read that. Whereas if that came up, myself and anybody that does Medu Neter could read it. The second thing I want to point out is the picture itself demonstrates what's going on. Let me give the people a bigger eye view for a moment. I'm going to take it off of us and put it on the screen for a moment. I want the people to see a better eye view of what's going on. All right. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to go online right now and I'm going to pull up the image independently and I'm going to blow it up so everybody could see. And by the way, in the interim, family, thumb up the video and share it live, because guys, it's about to get hot in here. I didn't even get to my second slide, which is where I get to show my proofs. But let me go now to StreamYard and share my new screen. So everybody can see what I'm trying to show. And I'll explain I'm just giving my opinion, right? I'm just giving my opinion. So even I could be wrong. We're going to say that. Even I could be wrong, right? And I even say it in my classes. Even I could be wrong. I don't teach like I am the beginning and the end. So this is the full depiction. I want to make sure it's showing on YouTube. So I'm going to stall a bit. But this is the full depiction, as everybody can see. This is the full depiction. Let me see if I could blow it up even more. There we go. All right. As everybody can see, I was being honest when I said the meta-nature is cut off, so you can't tell exactly what was written here. You can't get into the full dialogue because most of the meta-nature is cut off. But what is obvious is that even though the scenery is of slaves in a slave market, which included not just Nubians, but would have included many slaves, it is absolutely clear and common sense to anybody knows how Nubians are depicted in ancient. Oh, sorry, guys. When I blew it up, you guys couldn't see it. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. My bad. Let me bring it back. Let me rewind and come again. All right. It is absolutely clear to everybody who is familiar with how Nubians are depicted in ancient Kemet. You can clearly see that the slaves here are not Asiatic at all. They're all Nubian. So what Jonathan Owens is attempting to do, he's attempting to discredit or rob Wesley Muhammad of the points, the valid points he was making, based on what he knows is Wesley Muhammad's inability to read meta-nature. And then he's also banking on people's ignorance, because you literally have to be ignorant to not realize, family, that the guy standing right here, the Egyptian, is holding a stick in his hand.
Hold on one second.
Let me get this out. Hold on, let me get this out. Let me just get this out. Get this out. You'd really have to be ignorant to not notice that the man standing in the far left is literally holding a stick in his hand. So the captain of the wrestling team got a stick in his hand, right? Then the guy next to him is holding the stick in an upraised motion. And everybody knows in ancient Egyptian, let's get deep for a moment, and let's also get academic. We all know, those who study ancient Kemet, especially the pictorial wall relief, you know that the upright hand holding that stick like that is in what is called universally throughout academia in terms of ancient Kemetic studies, the smiting pose. So why the hell is the guy who is next to the other Egyptian who's holding a stick near his side, but he's holding it down? Why is the other guy in the smiting pose holding the stick? So wait, this is in case the Nubian wrestling team gets out of line? Come on, y'all. We can't be this stupid, right? Then you have another person behind him taking a register. And then obviously we know what is occurring here at a slave market. We could pull up images right now online where you can see Europeans holding up slave registers and documenting throughout the process. And lastly, the last Egyptian in the scene, he also has a stick in his hand. So there's three people with a stick in their hand. One is holding it upright in the smiting pose, and the fourth Egyptian is taking a register. Congratulations, family. This is not a goddamn depiction of a Nubian wrestling team. Go ahead, Brother Garfield.
All right, cool. I mean, you're very good at pointing out small things and making them the topic. But let me say this. There's other evidence to show this was a Nubian wrestling team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when Jonathan wrote that, I would have posted the source for that if I was the writer. But what I will say is he never said that. There's other evidence to show this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we don't know who these people are. Now, you do see images of Egyptians behind this, but let me say this real quickly here. Let me just read something from page 278. I'm sorry, from 279.
Well, hold on one moment, Garfield, because the people are asking this question. Jonathan said in his book, right? And you said you put respect on his book. You challenged my book for not being sourced out. You remember you referred to my book as a pamphlet. You said Zion Lexx doesn't have sources. Jonathan put in his book that there are other sources that say that this is a Nubian wrestling team. What are those sources? Before you go anywhere else, provide for us using Jonathan's book or whatever knowledge you have. What are those sources?
All right, go to Grimal, page 242. That's what he has.
All right, let's go. Could you also pull that up so we can see it?
Why would I have the source? I don't have Grimal's book. You don't
No,
hold
no,
on, hold on, Zion,
no. I'm
Zion,
saying
Zion,
we want to. No, no, no. What I'm
Zion,
saying, Garfield, is we want to see the
Zion, hold on,
citation of the source in his book.
Oh, right here.
No, so what I'm saying is the people need to see it. So could you put the site just like
Right
you? Let me do this. 'Cause I think this is fair, brother Garfield. I want to be fair. Just like you went into his book, right? And you said, sure, I could take a picture of it and send it to you guys. He said, you said I have a scanner. Could you also scan it so that people can see the citation?
Okay. I'm gonna say this, man. This is not about wrestling teams. All right. You're very good. You're very good at distracting. What is the point here? Is this? I am trying to get. I am trying to get.
Hold on, Garfield. Hold on. Dagger.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Now, listen. This is not about. You made a couple of statements I disagree with. You said that this is how the Nubians are portrayed in Kemet. You said that. I'm paraphrasing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I wanted to bring out before you stop me is there's a facsimile of an inscription from an ancient Egyptian offering table held in the Museum of Ireland. Within the facsimile, we read an epithet for Senwoseret III, beloved of Deadwin, foremost of Nubia. Now, this is a guy who is a Nubian, who is giving respect to a Nubian god, who is the king or / pharaoh of ancient Egypt. So Nubians can be kings, they can be servants, they could be whatever you want to call them. But we're not going to portray exactly how you want to portray Nubians, which is totally incorrect, because we know there were Nubian pharaohs in Kemet. So for you to say this is how the Nubians were portrayed, that is intellectually incorrect. Now, as far as the wrestling, now here we are. We have one paragraph, and we have there's the other evidence. He's reading from Kinnear's information. So he says, please see the breakdown of this inscription in the work of Jace Kinnear. In his breakdown, Kinnear makes effort to never use the word slave to represent captured Nubians. And then he goes on to say there's other evidence to show this was a Nubian wrestling team. He goes on to talk about Horemheb was a general, and he sources Grimal at page 242. He also refers to the photos in the east wall. Now, what we need to find is the photos from the east wall southern part in the second courtyard, KV 57. So if you find that, then we can say we have all the information instead of using Wikipedia.
Let me respond to what you said, brother Garfield. And I want to remind the people that we're throwing daggers at this point. So I'm going to open up with your line. I'm going to say dagger. Yes, we know that Nubians come to the throne in ancient Egypt. But come on, Garfield. I know you know enough about Egypt not to do this with me. And you should know that I know enough about Egypt not to allow you or anyone to get away with this. When Nubians come to the throne in Egypt, typically, it is because they were able to overthrow the seat of power. You know, brother Garfield, that there are kings in ancient Egypt not only have military campaigns in Asia, but they have military campaigns in Nubia to stop the Nubian expansion trying to come into Kemet and take the throne. So when Nubians come to throne, it's not because the people of Kemet are happy about this. They take the throne. So don't play the game, Garfield, dagger, that because Nubians are on the throne, that somehow suggests that the people of Kemet are welcoming of this. You need to point out how they came to the throne. You need to focus on the fact that the Egyptians did not want their asses on the throne. Hold on, let me just finish. Let me just get the point out, and then you can jump in and say whatever you want to say. Let me just get the point out. Hold on. I'm not being dishonest because I do know, I do know that there have been Nubians that have come to the throne that Egyptians welcome. Absolutely. That's why if you listen to what I'm saying verbatim, Garfield, because I literally did say, typically, when Nubians come to throne, it's because they invaded Kemet and overthrew it. You did hear me say typically, right? You know what typical means? Typical means mostly. Characterization. Hold on, let me just finish. Typically means a greater characterization. So it leaves room for the anomalies, the possibles, the what ifs. Yes, there were a few, very few Nubians that came to throne in Egypt that the Egyptians welcomed. But let's talk about the facts. When Nubians came to the throne in Egypt, the people were not happy about this. And typically throughout the history, when you had Nubians on the throne, it is because that they were the power seat and they overthrew the Egyptian Nisut. That's how they come to the throne. So in essence, they came to the throne the same way that the Hyksos did. They came to the throne the same way that the Persians did. They came to the throne the same way that the Romans did. They came to the throne the same way the Greeks did. They came to the throne the same way the Libyans did. So how dare you make a comparison like that, knowing that they came to the throne mostly because they overthrew Kemet. Dagger.
All right. Now, this is where the dagger is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Pepi I, he had Seneferu's pyramid protected by Nubians. So he had also, when he recruited Nubian tribes for campaigns against Asiatics. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is he talking about? You're talking about later on when they had issues, campaigns, you're talking about slave raids. You're using the same arguments as Wesley Muhammad. So it seems like, hold on, no, I made you talk and going, but daggers, I have to throw a dagger back at you, bro. So you're saying that Nubian...
I'm trying to stop you from getting bodied because you mentioned Seneferu.
Hold on a second.
Could you quote that part with Seneferu and the Nubians again, Brother Garfield?
Seneferu's pyramid was protected by Nubians.
Oh my God, Garfield.
When he recruited, hold on, I'm using Jonathan's book to body bag you. When he recruited Nubian tribes for campaigns against Asiatics, also on page 99 of Egypt and the Pharaohs, Alan Gardner states these princes were probably half Nubian by race. Regarding pharaohs of the 6th dynasty, so why then in a chapter called Imperial Kemet and the colonization, Nubia, does Dr. Muhammad use half Nubian to show example of Egyptian imperialism? But anyway, let me go on to say this though. Nobody is saying that brothers don't have wars. Every brother have a war. I used to fight with my brothers growing up. The fact remains that the Nubians were used by Kemet. They also were kings. So you have to show me every Nubian king got into power by war. You have to stand on that. Every Nubian king, and hold on, let me finish.
Because you're misrepresenting. I have to stop you, Garfield, because you're misrepresenting what I said. I clearly said typically, and now you're misusing what I said by saying every.
Let me finish. How many times were Nubian kings in power? You would have to show us all the Nubian kings and show proof that they were by force on the throne and they didn't go up and develop. Easy work. No. How many Nubian kings existed in Kemet?
Several. I don't know the exact number. I would have to actually present to look at the exact number. Just like you couldn't tell me the answer either.
Hold on a second. I'll say this to you right now because you're trying to throw back. That's a debate tactic. I know that. That's all good. I'm gonna say this to you right now. If you're trying to prove that Egypt had people who it was a damn empire. I don't even know why you even debate. I don't know if you're trying to set up a debate with Jabari. I'm trying to figure out what's the purpose, because I don't disagree that Egypt had people in the land that they were.
No, let me stop you and say this, Brother Garfield. With all due respect, let me just stop you briefly and say this. You are our guest of honor, and I'm going to absolutely treat you like that. I'm not going to play you, brother. You are our guest of honor. I'm going to try my best to not talk over you. I say try my best because you say I have a habit of doing it. So I'm going to try my best not to talk over you. I'm also going to try my best not to, railroad you and make you feel like you can't have equal speak time. But I do have to counter some of the things you said. You said, Zion, in order to make that conclusion, you have to prove that every Ethiopian that came to the throne taking it over. That's a fallacy. Because everyone heard me say on the live, and also family, type a 1 in the room if you heard me say it on live, just so Garfield could see. I literally said, typically, when Ethiopians or Nubians came to the throne, they overthrew it. I said typically. I even spent about 15 seconds to define. Hold on, brother. Let me finish. To be fair, let me finish. I even spent about 15 to 20 seconds defining what typically means. It is a greater characterization. When you say something is typically, you're describing a characterization in a greater sense, but it does not mean all. So when you said I need to prove all, you are wrong, because that is not my premise. I don't stand on that. I said typically. Secondly, let me share my screen, because you said something that's going to bring a big ass dagger right now. Garfield just said, everybody, that Nubians even protected Senneferu during his reign. Here's what Garfield clearly didn't study. And watch this, guys. When I introduce this one, you're going to hear me say dagger. Watch this. Everybody look at the screen right now. I told you, I was trying to help you. I wasn't like trying to diss you when I said be careful, because this is going to be the biggest dagger of the afternoon. Notice, everyone, Garfield's in trying to prove that Nubians are not what Zion is trying to make out. He says Nubians were protecting Senneferu. Why the hell did I almost curse? Why the hell did Garfield do that? During the Old Kingdom period, Egyptian armies captured prisoners of war. By the way, can everybody see my screen? Hold on, let me make sure everybody can see my screen before I read. Hold on. We ain't gonna start this. We want to make sure everybody can see my screen before we start. Let me make sure, guys. All right, good. Y'all did. All right, y'all did. Let me go back now.
Hey, you can't say hold on. Hold on. You can't say nothing about Wikipedia getting them. You can't say Wikipedia getting them. All right.
Hold on. We gotta be fair. Let me go. You can come back when I'm finished, but let me go. I'm gonna mute your mic also. I'm gonna mute your mic. I don't want you interrupting this. And I will unmute your mic as soon as I'm finished. And I won't stay too much time. I'm gonna read this small passage. Watch this, family. In the words of Garfield, you're going to hear me say dagger. Garfield, in trying to disprove the picture that I'm painting about how Egyptians mostly felt about Nubians, he's brought up the idea that Nubians were protecting Senneferu. That is absolutely true. But you guys need to know how and what is the means why the Nubians were protecting Senneferu. Wait till y'all hear this. During the Old Kingdom period, Egyptian armies captured prisoners of war, and they were called seker ankh, something I'm about to show you in the Meta-Netch in a couple of moments. A term for slave or laborer also emerged during this period called hem. Listen to this. Documented evidence existed as early as the reign of Senneferu in the 26th century BC of expeditions to capture Nubians and Libyans from foreign lands. So y'all hearing it right now, Nubia was considered a foreign land, and reduce them to slavery, where they will perform the work of forced labor or to be entered into the military. So dagger, Garfield, that was so crazy of you to mention that the Nubians were part of the military force. Did you not know that it was because that they were forced to? Did you not know that this was in part of their enslavement? Dagger! Let me unmute his mic. Yeah, you can't make this up, family. Let me unmute his mic and bring him back in.
Look, I'm gonna end the show right now. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now this is for people like Daniela and all these people and Zion and all these people that say Wikipedia says we can't use Wikipedia and laugh at people that use Wikipedia. Now, I'm gonna ask you one question, and this is the dagger of all. Can you prove that? Give me a source on that.
Can I prove what?
Right here. Can you prove what you just said a while ago? Prove it.
Easy. Hold on.
Go ahead. Prove it. Watch this.
Hold on. Let's be clear on what you
Hold on. Let me say it.
Hold on. No. Gotta respect the host for a moment. Respect the host for a moment. Hold on. Respect the host for just a moment, Garfield. Manners. Respect the host for a moment. I'm just asking you to be clear, brother, because you said, can you prove what you just said a moment ago? So I want to make sure that the audience can hear what you're saying. So be clear on what you want me to prove. That's all, brother.
Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. You see, this is the issue. I see Hebrews defending Wikipedia now, but if I'm on saw that and I say Wikipedia, they kill me. Now watch this, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm just using the source that he used.
Hold on. Nope. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm using the source that he used.
This brother. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the dagger of all daggers. Because I just read a source that quoted a source, right? Now he's saying that the Egyptian, the only reason why the Nubians, this is why he's telling you and saying dagger, is because the Nubians, they weren't recruited, family. They were captives of war or slaves. Now watch this. You could read the Medjanetta, my brother, and I respect you for that. Now, I want you to bring up the information. Show me a primary in that. And I'll concede right here in front of you. Show me during the time of Pepe I that the Nubians that were there were basically, people don't realize this. The Nubians are from the south, right? The Nubians interacted with Egyptians. You're painting a picture like, the Egyptians hate these people, like Haitians versus Jamaicans. It don't work like that. It's not, you're painting a picture that's totally incorrect when it comes to history. So you need to show us Nubians as coming into there, protecting that pyramid. Show me the pyramid and say, shut Garfield up. You can't read no mention of a damn Jamaican. You can't read that shit. Show us, show and prove. Show and prove. Show and prove. Show and
All right, let me just I muted your mic, but I want you to get that out. Go ahead, get that out.
I'm loving this, man. I'm loving this.
This is part of the entertainment, family, and I really enjoy this. Like I said to the brother, you got to come on this platform more because I came on your platform several times.
Yeah,
you did. Well, go ahead. Watch this. I'm gonna respond to you, but first I'm gonna mute your mic in case you try to jump in on me. I gotta mute your mic.
I'm good.
All right, so watch this. Family, if y'all not hitting that subscribe button, if y'all not hitting that like button, I'm gonna shut this down. Come on, family. Show your love, show your support. I'm gonna use the time really quick, family, to remind everybody, please support what's going on, because I am gonna use this platform to bring some of your favorite conscious community celebrities, as it were, right on this platform and be able to dialogue with them in real time. Garfield is one. This is not a full-scale debate. If it were a full-scale debate, we would have a moderator, so it's not a debate. But we are clashing with our ideas, and in that respect, we are kind of sort of debating, right? We know people are going to say it's a debate, right? So having said that, let me now open up the now watch this. Garfield said you don't have a source nor citation for that. And watch this, family. Are y'all ready? Watch this. I want everybody to put daggers in the room. I want everybody to put daggers in the room. Because not only does Zion Lexx got a source, but he got the same source that is quoted in this instance. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. Put some daggers in the room. Put some daggers in the room. Y'all ready? Hold on. Let me take Mika's picture down so that people could see clear. Let me take Mika's picture down so everybody could see clear. All right. All right. Give me a couple seconds. All right. Hopefully that should come down. Hopefully that should come down because I definitely took that down. Hopefully that should come down. Let me wait a couple seconds because I don't want anything on the screen. I want to make sure everybody can see. Let me wait till that removes from the screen. The hell is taking so long? Come on, StreamYard. Come on, StreamYard. Oh, come on, StreamYard. What the hell? All right. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not going to waste too much time. So watch this, family. Watch this. Garfield says Zion doesn't have a source in what he just said. I'm going to read what is quoted here, and then I'm going to show you the source. It says, during the Old Kingdom period, Egyptian armies captured prisoners of war, and they were called Seker Ankh. A term for slave or laborer also emerged during this period, called Hem. Documented evidence as early as the reign of Seneferu in the 26th century BC of expeditions to capture Nubians and Libyans from foreign lands and reduce them to slavery, well, they will perform the work of forced labor or to be entered into the military. Released from this period depict captured prisoners of war with their hands tied behind their backs. Nubians were first targeted, and then the scope of campaigns in order to acquire foreign slaves expanded to Libyans and Asiatics. Local Egyptians also often entered into slavery due to an unstable economy and growing debts, which led to people selling themselves into servitude. Officials who abused their power could also be sold to slavery. All of this is a quotation from the UCLA Slavery and Servitude in the Encyclopedia of Egypt. Now watch this. Can everybody see that book? Can everybody see that book? Let me make sure that everybody on YouTube can see that book. Can everybody see that book? You talking about if I have a source for that. So let me hover over the article to show you what the source is, because the article actually cites a source. So the cited source is in the article. Then let me hold up the book to let you know I got the goddamn book. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? So this is what I want to say to Brother Garfield right now, brother. This is what I want to say to Brother Garfield right now. I'm sure Jonathan Owens is going to call you and ask you not to use his book in your dialogues with me, because you just made his book go down on Amazon. Hold on, I'm going to unmute your mic in a moment. I just want to get this out, because you said that his book is used to cite. Matter of fact, let me open his mic from now. Let me open his mic from now. I don't want him to feel like I'm marginalizing his comments. So not only, Garfield, is there a source for what was just said, but I have the goddamn source in book form. Garfield, did you take a second to look at the side of me to see what's next to me? Now, you guys can't see it, but if I was to take my camera right now and bring it closer, you would see that this is a 7-story bookshelf. I am loaded with books. Unlike you, Garfield, I don't do PDFs. You claim to have a lot of books, bring them out. I could show every book I have in this house. I don't go on Wikipedia. I got books galore. So not only is there a quote for what you said, Garfield, but dagger, because I got the goddamn book in my hand.
Hey, beautiful. Can you read it from the book first? Hold on. Can you find the page and read it from the book? Hold on. Do me a favor.
I just read it.
No. Can you read from the book? I want you to read from the book what you just read. Watch this. And I'm gonna say please, because this is entertainment and I'm loving it. I'm loving this dialogue right now. This is up my alley. I want you to read. I'm not going to interrupt you. I want you to read what the book actually says. Watch this. And by the way, whoever Ben Pitts is, so what if the book is written by white men? What's that supposed to do? Until we get scholars who are trained to go over there and get funding, then we can talk about our scholars doing the primary research. But for now, hey, it is what it is. All right.
Say it again. Hold on. Say what he said again.
He said all books written by white men. That's what he pointed, saying your books. But I ain't worried about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Incorrect. It says during the Old Kingdom period, Egyptian armies captured prisoners of war, and they were called Seker Ankh. Documented evidence existed as early as the reign of Sennacherib in the 26th century BC of expeditions to capture Nubians and Libyans. Now, what else do you want me to read?
Now, what is the source in the book for that? What is the source for that?
What is the book source?
Yeah, what is the book source?
You just asked me to read what's in the book.
I know, but what's the source in the book for that? Hey, you asked me for Jonathan's source, so why can't I ask you for a source? You ain't got to put it on the screen though. I just want to know what the source is, because I made a request, and everybody getting all excited in the chat.
Okay. Hold on. I could tell you right now. The source is from a wall relief in the 26th century BC, to be exact, 2580 BC, of Sennacherib. He has an actual mural depicting all of these sayings.
So now I made a request to you, right? And I know I have a Jamaican accent, and I'm sure you understand every word I'm saying.
I do, of course. Yeah.
I said, you can read the Medjanetta. I want to see the primary. I don't want to see what the book says. Can you pull up the relief and show me what that is saying? That's all I requested. And this is not even a debate. This is not even a debate tactic or nothing.
Hold on. And
by the way,
see if I can put it up online.
I'm trusting your translation live. I'm saying I'm gonna take it as it is.
But hold on. As you can see, and as the people can see, I'm reading from the book, so there's nothing to trust.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the primary. I don't care what the white man put in the book. I want to see what the black man Zion
Wait,
Lexx
time out. You don't
read.
care what the white man put in the book?
In this instance, I don't care what he puts in the book. I'm saying, oh boy, I tell you, you a slick motherfucker, boy. You about to make me cuss, boy. You slick as goose grease. But listen, this is what I'm saying. I don't know if you heard me originally. I asked you to read the primary for us so we could see what it actually says instead of we taking what somebody says who quotes it in the book. Because Jonathan is quoting from a book too. So I'm saying put the primary up on the screen, read it for us so I could see that, because sometimes.
Right. So hold on. I'm glad you acknowledged something, because there's people in the chat room that don't understand what's going on. Somebody said, why did Zion quote Wikipedia? Because that's the same exact article that Jonathan was citing in the book. And that's what Brother Garfield just read from. That's why I pulled up Wikipedia for any of you knuckleheads that don't know why I use Wikipedia. It's because Garfield went to Jonathan's book, where Jonathan cited where Wesley Muhammad got the article from, which was Wikipedia, and that's why I pulled up Wikipedia. But I also pulled it up to show that there's a citation in Wikipedia to show you where the source is coming from. And that's from the book that I just read, because I got the citation source, which is the book. And I read that. So that's for you knuckleheads in the comment section that don't know what the hell going on right now. But go ahead, Brother Garfield.
Yeah, so that's why I said originally, when you started the wiki article, I said, I mean, it's going to have a source, but we need to make sure that whatever the source they're using is saying the same thing. I'm not moving any goalposts. I'm not trying, but that's what I requested originally, the primary. If you can't find it, no big deal. Go back to your slide, get your show going. I'm good. I'm on game. I'm good.
I don't want to take away from the lecture time by going online and scavenging for
right.
So I just want let me get this out. I don't want to waste time scavenging for Seneferu's wall relief. The attestation is here. If at any given time anybody, including you or Jonathan, wants to look at the wall relief and go through the Meta Nature to see what it says, we can come back and do a separate show on that. But this show is entitled Chattel Slavery in Kemet, to which so far I am daggering the shit out of this topic. So watch this.
Okay,
let me continue to go.
With one slide. Let me
continue to go. That one slide been busting heads on this whole topic so far, which is bad because I didn't even get to the meat and potatoes. Watch this, man. This is fun. I really enjoy this. I'm pretty sure Brother Jonathan is going to ask that nobody use his book no more, because I just made his book look horrible. He said that this is a Nubian wrestling team. That's interesting. All right, let me move from the Nubian wrestling team, guys, and let me go to the next slide. Watch this. We're gonna get a reminder really quick on what is the definition of chattel slavery. All right, because for those just coming in, Garfield, I'm gonna reset it a bit. People need to know what we're talking about. The topic is, did Egyptians practice chattel slavery and the branding of slaves? Garfield is not against the idea that there were slaves branded, but he is against the idea that Egyptians practiced chattel slavery. So the first thing we looked at was the definitions. In chattel slavery, the enslaved person is legally rendered the personal property of the slave owner. In economics, the term de facto slavery describes the conditions of unfree labor and forced labor that most slaves endure. So, of course, we know that this is a modern concept. The part here where it says in economics, the term de facto slavery, so that's modern. But chattel slavery isn't modern. That's the first half of the definition. In chattel slavery, the enslaved person is legally rendered the personal property of the slave owner, hence the term chattel. These are my 4 bullet points for Garfield. If and when I get to sit down with Brother Jabari, if he's willing to accept the challenge, I actually have 7 bullet points. But I have 4 here for him, for Brother Garfield, which I think is fair because I'm giving the majority of my bullet points. So there's no hidden hands. I have 7 for Jabari, which includes these 4, but I'm showing 4 right now for Brother Garfield. Here's my bullet points. Slaves were brought and sold, and mind you, can everybody see? Because I can't see it on YouTube. I want to make sure everybody can see my screen. All right, good. Slaves bought and sold as personal property. All right, we can prove in ancient Kemet, slaves were bought and sold as personal property. This daggers brother Jabari, saying that the enslavement that Zion and Shaka is trying to describe, Kemet simply doesn't have that. Kemet has captives of war, right? And of course, these captives are forced into labor, and it's not nice, family. Of course, it's harsh. What Jabari doesn't tell you guys is that a captive of war typically belongs to the state, and the state has a right to do with them whatever they choose. But that's not what's occurring in Egypt. Egypts are taking captives when they go out on military campaigns, not just from the prisoners of war, the people who fought in the war, but also from the civilians. So they were taking women and children as well and forcing them into slavery. And then these women and children and the remaining of the men were sold to everyday average citizens in Egypt that had the resources and the means to buy a slave. That is textbook classic definition of chattel slavery. The idea that you can become the personal property of anyone. Anybody could buy a cattle. I don't have to be an Egyptian priest to buy a cattle. I don't have to be a nobleman. Anybody could buy a cattle in Egypt. Same way anybody could buy a slave in Egypt. And here, I'm going to show you the receipts in a couple of moments, but we're just going over my bullet points. Slaves were branded with owners' names or initials. I'm going to show you the receipts where slaves were branded with the names of various kings. In chattel slavery, a slave is enslaved for life. By the way, we know the Meta Nature term for that, and I'm going to pull that out in a couple of moments as well. Slaves were stripped of their names, absolutely. So these are some of the 4 themes that I'm bringing out, and here we go. Slavery refers to a condition in which individuals are owned by others who control where they live and at what they work. Where they live and at where they work. Slavery had previously existed throughout history. In many times, in most places, the ancient Greeks, Romans, Incas, and Aztecs all had slaves. What does it mean to be a slave or enslaved person? Listen to this, guys. To be a slave is to be owned by another person. A slave is a human being classed as property and who is forced to work for nothing. An enslaved person is a human being who is made to be a slave. This language is often used instead of the word slave to refer to the person and their experiences and to avoid the use of dehumanizing language. What does it mean to be a chattel slave? Listen to this, guys. A chattel slave is an enslaved person who is owned forever. That's for life. And whose children and children's children are automatically enslaved. Chattel slaves are individuals treated as complete property to be bought and sold. Chattel slavery was supported and made legal by European governments. Now, let me show you something, guys. This is the term in the Meta Nature, seker ankh. Seker ankh. Seker is how you say captive in the Meta Nature. Seker is the Meta Nature term for captive. Ankh is how you say life. A seker ankh is a captive for life. Let's go back to the definition of chattel slavery. A chattel slave is an enslaved person who is owned forever for life. Let's go to the Meta Nature. What is a seker ankh? A seker ankh. Seker is a captive. Ankh for life. This is someone who was enslaved and captive for life. That is textbook definition of chattel slavery. So for Garfield to say that there's no chattel slavery in Kemet means first he must be ignorant of the Meta Nature, because he obviously doesn't know the terms employed in Kemet. And he may also be ignorant of various practices in Kemet, as you're going to see unfold and me point out. Even Jabari quoted on Saturday night that Kemet had seker ankhs. Jabari admitted it, but Jabari didn't tell you guys what a seker ankh is. A seker ankh is one who is bound and captive in servitude for life. That is the textbook definition of chattel slavery. Dagger. Next one. Watch this. This is from the Papyrus Harris. You want to talk about primaries, Brother Garfield? I got something for you. Ramses III brags that he branded slaves as his personal property bearing his name. Remember, going back to chattel slavery. Let's go back to the definition. Slaves bought and sold as personal property. Slaves branded with owner's name or initials. This is classic definition of chattel slavery. Now watch this. Ramses III brags in his inscription in what's called the Papyrus Harris that he branded slaves as his personal property bearing his names. And I'm going to quote what he said in the inscription verbatim. I brought back in great numbers those that my sword spared, with their hands tied behind their backs before my horses. Listen to what I'm saying, before my horses, and their wives and children, listen guys, in tens of thousands, and their livestock in hundreds of thousands. I imprisoned their leaders in fortresses bearing my name, and I added to them chief archers and tribal chiefs, branded and enslaved, tattooed with my name, their wives and children being treated in the same way. Dagger. Below this quote from Ramses' inscription in the Papyrus Harris family is an image of Europeans branding Africans during the transatlantic slave trade, during the chattel slavery practice in America. So for Garfield to say that there's no chattel slavery in Kemet first tells you this. He's ignorant of the metal netra, which is the complex terminology employed for different types of servitude. Maybe he simply doesn't know that a seker ankh is a captive for life. And maybe then he didn't know that a textbook definition of chattel slavery is that the person is born in servitude for life, not an indentured servant. An indentured servant offers their services, sells of themselves for a time period. There are people in Egypt that were native to Kemet that volunteered themselves into servitude because of lack of money or funds, and they became temple servants or temple slaves. But a captive inscribed as a seker ankh for life, that is textbook definition of chattel slavery. And the primary and chief resource for that is in the inscription of Ramses III. Body bagged. But I got more, because I'm going to go into meta netra and show you stuff that a lot of them don't be talking about. So we want to talk about what is branding. Watch this. In the image you see here, a hot iron is being pinned to the back of an African by a European. Ramses III said he was doing the same thing to his captives, of which you guys need to know the majority of captives in ancient Kemet were Asiatic. And there were also Ethiopian captives too. And everybody who becomes a seker ankh, a captive for life, they get a brand. So watch this. How do we know what they're branded with? How do we know that it's the same hot iron that was used by Europeans? Well, there's a term for brand in the Medu Neter, which is called ab, and it means to burn, to flare up, or to burn off. It's spelled utilizing the glyph. Here you can see the single reed leaf, which is I. You can see this glyph right here, which is the foot, which is B. You can also see the determinative for fire or flame. So we know they were using a fire brand or a hot iron brand to brand people in the same exact way that Europeans were branding Africans of the transatlantic slave trade. So how the hell can we be talking about Kemet didn't practice this when they have it replete in their literature? Also, here's something you should know. This glyph right here lets you know that this is a determinative for punishment or for judging. So it lets you know why somebody is being branded in ancient Kemet as a form of cruel and unusual punishment. Or let me take out the unusual part because I sound European on that one. As a form of punishment, they're being branded. But it gets deeper. A slave name is the personal name given by others to an enslaved person, or a name that inherited from enslaved ancestors. The modern use of the term applies mostly to African Americans in West Indies, who are descended from enslaved Africans who retained their name given to their ancestors by their enslavers. This is a textbook definition of chattel slavery. They receive a slave name. All of you know, and this is the reason why the Nation of Islam, shout out to them, put an X behind their name, because the slave masters gave them a slave name and they don't know their Aboriginal name. They say X. But doing this is not new. Ancient Egyptians was doing this long before it was practiced in Egypt. And guess what? We're going into the source for this. In the Brooklyn Papyrus, dated to the 13th dynasty in Egypt, we have a register of Asiatic Semitic slave names. Watch this. During the first intermediate period, slaves were first defined as men with dignity, but remained treated as property. When borrowed money owed to wealthier individuals in Egyptian society could not be paid back, family members were sold and returned into slavery, especially women. During the Middle Kingdom, records show that coerced laborers included conscripts, fugitives, and royal laborers. The Raciner Papyrus and the El Lahun Papyri depict prisoners being employed in state enterprises. Papyrus Brooklyn, which I just cited, watch what's in here, also shows forced labor being performed on arable state land. If an individual experienced coerced labor, attempted to escape, or was absent from work, they could have been reduced into coerced labor for life. One of the El Lahun Papyri described one example of this occurring. Order issued by the Great Prison in year 31. Jabari said there's no prisons in ancient Kemet, but the Brooklyn Papyrus has a detailed account of an order issued from a great prison in year 31. But Jabari tells y'all Kemet was such an advanced society, and they're very much unlike Europeans. Kemet never even had prisons. Don't get me started, guys, because I actually got all of the Metal Nature term for prisons. Remember, I pulled it up yesterday. Third month of the summer season, day 5, that he condemned with all his family to labor for life on the state land, according to the decision of the court. Military incursion continued to reduce Asiatics to slavery and those who shared in the same status as that of an Asiatic, including state-owned laborers. Asiatics, listen to this, could often have Egyptian names, but sometimes inscriptions on papyri mentioning them would still apply an ethnic qualification, such as one which mentions an Asiatic Aduna and her son Anku. So their Asiatics are walking around with Kemetic names, a classical textbook style definition of chattel slavery, where you're given a slave name. So watch this. Want to get deep? We talked about, in terms of chattel slavery, the slave status when you're a Seker Ankh, it transfers. If you have children, they too come into slavery. So let's go into the Metal Nature term. We have a Metal Nature term called semedet. Semedet, which is the folded cloth, which is an S, the owl, which is an M, the hand, which is a D, and then the bread loaf, which is a T. And then the determinative for man, the kneeling man with his hands upright. Semedet. Look what it says. Slave born on an estate. Born on an estate. If you are living on a plantation, or if you are living in slave quarters where Egyptians had you to live, and your parents are slaves, you too are forced into servitude. What the hell are we even talking about? Is there chattel slavery? We hitting all the bullet points right now. This is a joke to even talk about. You have to seriously be romanticizing ancient Egypt if in fact you deny that ancient Egypt does not have chattel slavery. Garfield, you can unmute your mic, brother.
My man shouting and going up and down and going crazy. All right. Now, most of this stuff, for those who don't know, is based off information.
Hold on. Garfield, I got to stop you for one moment. I'm sorry. Just one moment.
Okay.
Family, Dion Florence, get him out of here. We're not taking no joke. He said Zion is just repeating Shaka Amo's presentation. Anybody go back and look at Shaka Amo's 3-year-old presentation. Shaka Amos did not present anything I just presented. So that's a troll. Moderators, get him out of here. Talking about Zion is repeating Shaka's presentation. Are you stupid? Shaka don't even read Metal Nature. Did you just see me reading the Metal Nature? Sorry, Garfield.
All right. Now, let me say this. I got a question for you, right?
By the way, I proved chattel slavery so far.
All right, cool. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. You said that folks in Egypt were bought and sold, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Can you provide evidence of them being bought and
Absolutely.
when they were sold? Can you give me 3 examples? I like to use 3 because
Absolutely.
that's your thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
you like to do 3. So
ab-
can you show us in the
no, no,
Midget?
absolutely. And that's for my debate with Jabari. Remember, I'm only bringing out certain stuff with
Okay.
you
All right.
that's necessary for our dialogue, but obviously, as a form of tact, I can't present all my information yet.
All right, cool. All right,
but I did bring out enough to establish why I say there is chattel slavery in Egypt, because I can show you receipt after receipt, primary after primary, that shows you Egyptians were practicing the core essence definition of chattel slavery in ancient Egypt.
All right, cool. All right, the term seker ankh, you said that's slave for life, enslaved for life.
Yes, it is.
Can you show us? Can you show us in the Medjugorje that you showed a while ago? Can you show us in some dictionaries?
Yes. Hold on. Hold on. Watch this.
And by the way, some of the points the brother made, I can't disagree with. Honestly, I can't. I'm just building because I mean,
I'm glad you're being honest, brother. I'm glad you're being honest.
I can't. I don't have no shoes in this whole conversation, but we just here building. But yeah, it's good though, because I'm a guy. When we say chattel slavery, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's sometimes we get emotional with the terms, and definitely Egypt is not innocent. Definitely Mesopotamia is not innocent. Definitely Assyria.
Oh no,
Assyria is the worst
no. Even if we're gonna be honest, I'm glad you brought that up, because if we're gonna be honest, and you know I do push objective scholarship, you had people practicing chattel slavery in Mesopotamia as well. But we can't act like Egypt is an isolate, that everything they do is perfect. You know that, Garfield.
Listen, man, I don't deal with Egypt at all. But I will say this though. Something you said is very enlightening about the Egyptians, and as far as going and making, I'm not gonna say they went out there on purpose to go get white folks and enslave them and all that stuff. I'm not gonna go that far. I think that's the angle Shaka is going in. But
no, I'm definitely not following Shaka.
Yeah, but I will say though that there's records, and I did say this to you yesterday, that as far as going out and taking people and bringing them back, I honestly believe, I'm gonna use the word believe, I don't use that word a lot, that the Assyrians got that from the Egyptians. Now, people might say, are they purposely going out there to raid, kidnap, and purposely saying that we're gonna get these people? I don't think they're saying that. I think it's wars. A lot of wars happen, and you take people to come along with your army. I'm gonna give a perfect example. Deuteronomy 28:68, and this is actually in my book. I found a primary to actually answer the question of Deuteronomy 28 verses 68, where Assyrians are actually taking Israelites back to Egypt on ships. And when I see stuff like that, and then when I look at the port records, them port records show that Egypt been doing stuff. If you Google ancient Near East Egyptian ports, there's so many ports there that they took so many people sometimes by water, by boats. So I mean, I can't deny them transporting people. I will not deny that part of what you just presented. I will not do that. I'll be dishonest if I do. But I do want to see that the enslaved for life. And why do you say the word is enslaved? Why do you draw that? I want you to break that down.
Pulling that up right now. I just took a screenshot of it from the dictionary, and let me hold up the dictionary. I did get it from Budge. Let me hold up the dictionary, and I just took a screenshot of it to show to our family. And I'm going to share my screen as soon as I pull it up. And I appreciate your honesty, brother Garfield. Appreciate your honesty, and I hope I'm not railroading you in this discussion. I hope I'm not, making you feel like you're slighted. Obviously, we got some disagreements, but I'm trying to bring scholarship, brother. I'm trying to bring scholarship. Cool. A lot of people don't do that.
There's a lot of stuff I would love to see in I want to see in the debate, the Medjugorje and the breakdown, because once you bring the Medjugorje, everybody, the Masu warrior clan and them gonna come on and say, hey, he's right. They'll tell the truth, and basically break that down, because I'm not a Medjugorje guy, but I do have some questions that
Okay.
I want to be answered. One of them. You say you're not gonna. Are you gonna break down the Secker Ankh right now, or
Right
okay.
now.
All right, go ahead.
Right now. Everybody see the new screen? Can everybody see the new screen? Everybody can see. I don't want to proceed till everybody sees it.
They can't see
Does everybody
the
see my new screen? All right, hold on.
You got to make that bigger. Mm-hmm.
Does everybody see that? I'm gonna make it nice and big.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make it nice and big.
There you go. All right.
Is that nice and big?
Right.
All right. Also, let me show the people this. Does everybody see that citation next to Secker that says Palermo stone?
Palermo steel. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the Palermo stone. Let me show you guys something. Hold on. Brother Garfield, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
I'm gonna walk you down this road real slow. You ready for this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't gonna do this. I had no intention of doing this with you. Like, I'm holding back with you, to be honest. There's a lot more that I could show in terms of the primaries, but I'm trying to bring it out for Jabari. But I just know that Jabari can't deal with Medu Neter. So even if I bring it out now, it probably doesn't matter. But remember, you asked me earlier if I had a primary for Seneferu and having Nubians as captives.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I got the primary right here, brother Garfield, and it's in the Palermo stone. The Palermo stone actually mentions the campaign of Seneferu going into Nubia and capturing slaves. And he calls them in the language, not Hem, which is the title of Jabari, not Abak, which is an everyday servant or laborer, but he calls them Seker Ankh, which is a captive for life. This is what he calls the Nubians when he catch them. That's why you see it here. It says Palermo stone or Palermo stele. That's the Palermo stele right here. By the way, you talking primary evidence? I'm holding a replica of it in my hand. You don't get more primary than that.
So you're saying on that stele that you have right there, it talks about that in detail?
Yes, in detail. Now watch this. The term Seker denotes a couple of things. First and foremost, if you pay attention to some of the determinatives, you can see the different ways that it's used. One way that it denotes is that it denotes someone who's going to be beat or struck. As we know, captured prisoners are beat. Sounds familiar? The transatlantic slave trade. You weren't just captured and enslaved, but you got a beat down when you don't follow instructions. You don't do what we say, you get a beat down. So the term Seker covers all that. It's not just saying captive. It also goes into how people are being beat physically. Then it talks about a captured prisoner. But let's get down to this term Seker Ankh. This is Seker Ra, which is again a prisoner or a captive. Now watch this. This is Sekeru, which is the plural form to denote captives in the plural form. And now watch this. This is the Seker Ankh. Seker Ankh. You have the term Ankh and Seker. And of course, again, you see Palermo stone. Why do you see Palermo stone? Because if you check the record, it is on the Palermo stone that the Nisut calls Seneferu, goes into Nubia and kidnaps Nubians. I don't think nobody volunteered to come to Kemet as slaves. Kidnapped them. Also, by the way, does that sound familiar? Kidnapped and enslaved? I'm proving my point all the way, by the way. And I'm glad, because you don't have a race in this horse, you should be honest enough to know that I'm on point right now when I'm speaking. A Seker Ankh is a prisoner for life. But I want you to note something. I'm going to deal with something in the dictionary. Budge calls a Seker Ankh a combatant captured alive. Or he defines a Seker Ankh as someone who is a captive that was caught alive. Now let me ask you guys a common sense question. Can you be described as a captive if you're dead? I want the audience to type 1 in the room if a captive is somebody who's dead. But if a captive is somebody that's always living, type of 2. Who brings back dead captives? When you call somebody captive, it's because you're restraining them. You don't need to restrain the dead. So Seker Ankh is not a captive who is alive or a living captive, but it's the other definition of Ankh, because remember, Ankh also means life. So Seker Ankh is someone who is held captive in perpetuity for life, because obviously it can't mean one who is captured alive, because you wouldn't speak of bringing back a captive that's dead. In fact, there's no need to bound somebody and make them a captive if they're dead. So Seker Ankh denotes. Let me just finish this last point. I want to show. I'm teaching right now, so I want to show the people what I do. So we're describing right now. Seker Ankh is descriptive of someone held in bondage for life. So you asked to see it in the dictionary, brother, and there you go.
All right. Now it says right here, but do you have another dictionary that talks about this? Because if we go by the dictionary, we're reading it, because Jabari gonna chop this up and said it doesn't mean that, brother. You're adding on. So I'm asking you, does any of the dictionaries say that it says captured for life? Because then you're adding on to it. And I know hold on. Let me finish. I know you have your own explanation and you're making sense, but I'm trying to figure out if it says a combatant captured alive, who is Zion Lexx now to say, hey, it means this? So go ahead.
I'll tell you why. First and foremost, we're in Wallace Budge's dictionary. That's number one. Secondly, there's a name in this dictionary that I could take a screenshot and show you also, which is read as Nimrod. And Wallace Budge says it's Nimrod. Everybody knows that Wallace Budge, his translations are out of date. They're not accurate. His translations are out of date. He says, you don't think that Nimrod is a historical person, but in this dictionary, Budge located someone in Egypt who's inscribed on the walls, and their name is Nimrod, and the determinative behind them is a seated deity with the goatee, which represents a venerated ancestor or a deified ancestor. So with all of those proofs, Bud says that this is Nimrod. So it's easy to prove my point, because we all know Budge is not credible in his translation. But here's the thing to notice. Seker does denote a captive prisoner. And we do know that Ankh can mean living, but the primary usage of Ankh is life. When you hear Brother Jabari speak of Ankh, he don't say living, he says life. Everybody knows that. So what games are we playing right now? I don't have to rely on Budge's definition verbatim. I can correct Budge just like everybody corrects Budge. And I gave the common sense in how I can correct him. It makes no sense to describe somebody as a captive if they're dead. And in fact, nobody's bringing back a dead body. So we're talking about someone who is held in bondage for life. And that is the primary definition of Ankh. So I don't care how Jabari may try to twist or pull it, because I'm going to have a field day with him, busting his ass throughout this dictionary and any dictionary, because I also got Raymond Faulkner's Middle Egyptian dictionary, and show him how he don't do Medu Neter. So I'm going to go into all the other terms, but we got to save that for him, brother.
All right, but let me ask you this, though. But in any other dictionary, does it say what you say it says?
Yes, there is another. Yes, there is another dictionary that says what I say. I will be bringing that when I sit down with Jabari.
All right, cool. All right. Let me see if I got 3 more questions, but let me see what else I want to ask you. Whoa.
By the way, family, let me just use this moment let me just do this real quick, brother. Garfield, family, y'all gotta show y'all love, man. Israelite community, y'all gotta show y'all love. I brought out a lot of information in this live stream, family. I brought out a lot of information, sourced up like a mother, reading the language. How many people can do that, family? Y'all got to show y'all love. Thumb up the video, share it, like it, donate, family. Come on. We got to donate. We got to support. My apologies, Brother Garfield. Go ahead.
All right. Let me see what else. You brought out Ramesses III and all right. Okay. All right. I mean, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
All right.
Because
all right.
I'm not going to defend Jabari's position. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not even going to try. But I'll say this though: we gotta be very careful comparing both. And And I do think that Egyptian writers, like Syrian writers, like most of these people in ancient Near East, I think they do embellish, just to compete, with other people. I took 100,000. Oh, I took 110. So there's things there that we could chop it up about. But I will say this though, that I don't think what Egypt did, and this is not even romanticizing, I don't think whatever Egypt did can compare to the transatlantic slave trade. And that's just how I feel.
I respect your opinion. I also respect the fact that I did prove otherwise. And I can't wait to sit down with Jabari on this topic. I want to make the people know that Garfield didn't come here today, I don't think, to debate me on the topic. I think he more so came here to hear what I had to say. Is that fair?
You're damn right. Because you know what? I don't have a challenge either way, because technically speaking, it really don't matter. It don't phase me about whether Egypt did it or not. I'm not gonna hold to a position where, I mean, you got to be fair. You got to be fair. Fear is fair. So if you bring a position and Jabari bring a position, I wish him the best, and I wish you the best in the conversation, and I hope we grow from there. Because technically speaking, it don't affect anyone who holds to anything, whether the Bible or not. It might help the Bible a little bit that there's slaves there, but in a sense, I think it's actually the other side. It don't really help them. But you might have your motives why you do it. But hey, it is what it is. I'll say this though, I wouldn't. What happened with over 15 million people being transported over can't be compared to what happened in the whole dynasty of Egypt.
So I want to be clear on that point, because I definitely agree with you. And remember, I never said that. I never said that everything that ancient Egyptians practice is paralleled by the transatlantic slave trade. I did not say that, but I did say the core essential themes are there. I did say that. So in terms of size and scale, there is no slave trade comparable in Egypt to what we know in modern days, such as the trans-Saharan slave trade or the transatlantic slave trade. I'm aware of that. And I'm not trying to make Egypt guilty of that. I'm not trying to paint Egypt to be this disgusting, barbaric nation that's out here forcing other nations to do all these things. But what I'm saying, Garfield, and as you know, is let's just start keeping it real. Let's stop lying. That's it. Because if we open the records and we show and prove, shout out to Sonetta. If we open the records and we show and prove that there's chattel slavery in Egypt, and we have so many people in the Kemetic community who are denying it, then that's going to look very bad for the Kemetic community. So what I want to say right now is, family, your boy did it. And I'm not even done yet. This is just to draw Jabari in, because somebody going to put a battery in his back and say, come on, I know how to tackle this. And what they don't know are what my other sources are. So I'm going to bust them on their head. And to the community, I got to say this to you, family. We got people in the Kemetic community that just sent me a donation. And how I know? Because it's from Nisut so-and-so and Amin Ra so-and-so. Israelites in the chat room, do not let the Kemetic community outdo us. They supporting my platform more than us. A brother by the name of Nisut, and I'm not going to say exactly what the brother Cash App name is. I don't want to put him on blast. Just sent me a nice donation. And I had a sister with a Kemetic name send me a nice donation. Brother Zion Lexx, I appreciate this. This is intellectual honesty. Israelites, where y'all at, man? Come on. Show love, family. Show love, because most of you know this ain't easy work, even though I'm so skilled at it that I make it look easy.
All right, cool. Hey, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, my contention with everything that you said, I'm always trying to defend Africa, no matter where it is. We're Africa, and whether it's east, north, south, west, whatever, that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to be saying that lying on Africa. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from. So if it says that in the Medjanetta, I think Jabari has to come and say, hey, you know what? You got this wrong. This is what it really says. So we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And to the brother in the chat, he made a funny comment, man. I gotta respond to this real quick. The brother said, Garfield, you're tired for your cat nap. The truth is, I actually just got back from the gym, I just got back from the gym. I did 6 miles, and I said, let me just keep my word at 10 o'clock. So I had to cut my work, deal with this situation today. All right. But anytime, bro, you could invite me anytime. Nothing to be scared of. And for those who say I'm scared of Zion Lexx, I don't know why. The brother breathe air just like I do. You know what I'm saying? We both cut from the bounty killer cloth. We both want to be the bounty killer of the conscious community. So I'm gonna say this. We gotta don't think this argument that Zion is making helps him as a Hebrew. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it helps him. I think the brother in the chat, Ayaya, be praised. He made a comment earlier about Ramesses III even wrote that he enslaved the Shasu of Mount Seir. I think that's probably one of the biggest comments of the whole thing, because if we're talking about Bible, we're not talking about Bible today, which is off. I don't even want to bring it up, but I'm just saying I don't think this argument helps Zion. The argument he's pushing, but hey, he knows what he's doing. He's his own person, and hey, it is what it is.
Hold on. We got Brother Sarnetta in the comment section. Sarnetta said, Brother Zion Lexx, do you want Jabari? Shout out to the OG Sarnetta. You damn right I do. Let's do it in person, though. Let's do it in person. And let's do it at Sarnetta Studios. Not at Jabari Studios, the Shrine of Ma'at. I don't want nobody saying that I disrespected their house. I don't want it to go there. Let's do it at Sarnetta Studios. That way, if I share my points, it is what it is. So let's get it in.
Hey, by the way, I did propose a date for me and you to debate on Sarnetta, June 29th, 10 a.m. So if you're available,
what day is that?
That's the day before.
No. Oh, no. I'm gonna be in Florida at that time. Absolutely can't do that. That's a bad. Dead serious. I'm booked from June 25th all the way to July almost 4th, 3rd or 4th. I'll come back the 3rd. I'm moving to Florida, by the way. I'll be a Florida resident as of August.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about moving to Orlando myself. So
let me tell you, man. Let me tell you, Kirky C from Poison Dot Sound got a beautiful restaurant down there, man. That's bad. On
which
top
part?
of that,
In Fort Lauderdale or Miami?
In Tampa, and then you got Super Twitch restaurant outside of Fort Lauderdale, and it's bad because he got like the stage show set up where you could come and do artist performances.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you know what? Where's that at? Where's that located at?
That's located right outside Fort Lauderdale. I could send you after the live because I got your number. I could send you the picture of the restaurant so you could see in the address.
How much people do you think hold there?
At Super Twitch restaurant, at least
like 300 people?
At least 250. Easy.
All right, easy. Cool. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget June 18th is my book release, official book release. And we're gonna be doing something on Sarnetta big. And everybody look out for the book, man. It's gonna be very interesting. A lot of theories that's out there for different things. I mean, it's gonna be new to a lot of people, but we need to see where the consensus is. Daniela asked a question in the chat. What is the consensus on the whole Nubian and the slave stuff? I don't know, because I was reading an article on the Torah.com, and they were talking about in this article something that you had mentioned about the Brooklyn Papyrus. And he talked about how the Egyptians, 33 Egyptians, were considered servants/slaves. And he said, again, it must be stressed that there's no consensus as to the precise legal statuses those are slaves/servants or workers. And I think that's very important. So I'm going to say this. I think it's a very complicated conversation, and I don't read the Mejanetta. I would love for Zion and Wujawu and them, because Wujawu is the one that taught me about the branding. So Wujawu ain't going to lie.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Shit. Hold on, man.
Yeah.
Hold on. Judah Natsara got on here being disrespectful. So I was trying to block him, but Tamika was right next to him and she caught the block. How do I unblock her, man? Shit. How do I unblock her? She caught the block by accident, man. I'm sorry, Mika. You know I didn't mean to block you. I'm sorry. I was aiming at Judah, not Sarah. I'm sorry, sister. You know I didn't mean to block
you know what? Let me say something about that brother, by the way, man. You see, there's certain Hebrews, and sometimes we get foul at the mouth, but some people just take it way too far. And I think Judah Natsara, whatever he's trying to do, I just stay away from that dude, man. That dude is just, I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all do it. And
Hold
say,
on.
for example, you know, Daniel is like one of the most humblest dudes we know in this community. I don't even know if he can deal with that dude. Trust me. You know,
Okay.
I be seeing he getting blocked in everybody's chat. But shout out to everybody that listens to it. How many people is watching, by the way? I can't see how many people is live.
Got you, brother. Got you. All right.
Oh, that's probably Sonetta trying to get this debate going.
Yeah. I just spoke to him just now. We're gonna get this debate going with me and Jabari. We're gonna set that up ASAP. Since Shaka didn't want to do it for the amount of money, I'll listen. The only time Sonetta ever offered me money to do a debate was when I debated Shaka, and we both left the building with $300. If Shaka says a different number, I'm gonna feel stupid. But we both left the building, to my knowledge, with 300. If Shaka doesn't want to do it for the money he said that he didn't want to do it for, I'll take the money and I'll do it with Brother Jabari. It's only right.
What do you want me to debate about? Because I want to debate, are we Israelites? I do want to debate on prophecy, like you said you would. But are we the Israelites of the ancient Israelites of the Bible? I don't know. We could talk and decide on a topic, but I do want the prophecy that you agreed to. I do want to talk about prophecy and the Old Testament.
Okay, let me do something real quick. Shout out to Kelvin Davis, Daniel Dixon, and Otis. Thank you for your donation. By the way, Brother Garfield, for your time, just send me your Cash App. I'm going to send you a donation as well, just for your time on the platform. Having said that, what I would like to debate with you on is that we are Israelites. You know my views. I do believe that all of our people are Israelites, and I mean, come on, Garfield. You never told me. Now, I think I want to ask you publicly, which part of Jamaica are you from?
I'm from Kesha Park. You always hear Mavada talk about Kesha Park.
Of course, near Cassava Peace, right?
All right. Mm-hmm.
All right, so watch this. Having said that, in our culture, we already believe that we're the children of Israel. You know that. Right or wrong? I mean, keep it real.
There are some Rastafarians that teach that.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. I'm gonna even say most. Having said that, I think the biggest dagger would be if I could convince Garfield he's an Israelite. So I'm up for a debate with you, Garfield, on the proofs for whether or not we are Israelite. I'm totally with that. I think personally that you might not walk away believing it after I beat you, because I'm going to beat you. But I think that just the possibility that you might believe that you are after I beat you is going to be worth it.
Well, based off the information I know, there's no way we're the ancient Israelites. I look at everything from 5 facets, and I look at archaeology, I look at anthropology, and for those who don't know, anthropology deals with migrations, which is one of the arguments, and we deal with genetics, linguistics, which is your area, and we deal with history, which is my area. That I have a degree in. I have a degree. I heard you say something the other day. I was laughing. I was like, "Oh, you went in on me, boy." I'm like, "This boy crazy."
So, but can you close out the last couple of minutes? I'm gonna do you an honor. Can you close out the last couple of minutes and explain to the people your tenure? I did say on a live recently that Garfield has no community that he comes from, no elders. Correct me. Let us know where Garfield comes out. I'm gonna allow you to close the show by giving us your tenure.
All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna save some of this for when I do my what you call it, my show about my book release. But basically, ladies and gentlemen, I've been a part of this conscious community I'm talking about, not community, conscious community, from around 1993. And what happened is I was a part of an organization. I'm not going to say the name of the organization. All right. It's called Black whatever. We used to host lectures at When Worlds Collide. I used to go to a CUNY University in New York. I got banned from the college for playing a Khalid Abdul Muhammad videotape. When I made the videotape, it actually the college lost money from the Jews who used to donate money because of that. They had to bring in two of these Uncle Tom buffers to try to rectify the beef that they had. So this is in the 90s as a teenager. When I got kicked out of college, the Nation of Islam flew to the college, flew to New York, and represented me at the college. It was a big thing, you know, big lectures and all that stuff. And at that point, I was introduced to the community through that one of the guys that came there. He had a spot in Brooklyn, and the spot in Brooklyn is where the Mosque Number 7C used to be. Mosque Number 7C used to be under Kevin Muhammad, who became the guy at Mosque Number 7 in Harlem that died of coronavirus last year. So I've known pretty much King Simon knows me. I mean, as a matter of fact, there was the Nation of Islam, my connection with them, I started doing security. So we used to go to all these Jamaican stage shows. And me and King Simon used to work together. So I've known King Simon for over 20 years. I used to go to the Slave Theater. So I mean, I've met all the greats. Barashango, Ikamus Barashango had a surprise birthday party for me. And with the group that I'm a part of, still a part of today. And you know, he taught me a lot. Barashango taught me a lot. Dr. Ben, I met Dr. Ben in person. I'm not going to say I sat at the feet of Dr. Ben like Reggie, but I met him where he came to my organization. We used to have an annual conference. And the annual conference, you used to have all the big shots. Phil Valentine, I've slept at Phil Valentine's house. So when people say I'm not a part of the conscious community, I know Phil Valentine before YouTube. I know Bobby Hemmett. I was at a Bobby Hemmett lecture in Carroll Street. Anybody know Carroll Street and Phil Valentine knows I'm a part of the community because everybody knows that's where Phil Valentine's house is. And that's where he used to keep the gathering of the masters, the original. So as a teenager, I was brought into that world. So as far as research, one of the gentlemen that's a part of the organization I'm a part of was one of the co-writers of Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. He used to, when I used to go to his house was full with books. And that's what got me into studying and researching, plus my influence of my mom, who was a history teacher. She was a doctor out there. So, I mean, that influenced me away. And then I kind of drift away from the conscious community a little bit because I used to file visas, entertainment visas for Jamaican artists. That's how I got into knowing a lot of Jamaican artists. And I need to say one incident. Queen Pen was I was at an incident because my organization was a Black Power organization, and there was somebody that got killed in Bed-Stuy. So they called us during the Friday meetings, and we all went down there like around 30, 40 deep. And the people were literally fighting the cops. When I mean literally fighting the cops, literally fighting the cops. I went in to help out with Sister Queen Pen, the rapper. This was before she was a rapper. And we started getting the tussle with the cops. I got arrested that day. That was probably my introduction to the conscious community, getting arrested that day in Brooklyn. And that was when Giuliani just became mayor of New York. That was 93. So the cops were saying Giuliani time. So when people said that it was a lie, they were saying it's Giuliani time now. You can't get away with that. So I was a part of the conscious community. I was in Coney Island. I was in the projects when people have beef. You know, Nation of Islam was doing security in those buildings. I used to be like there on one side while you had different gangs that had their so-called beefs. I was there with all of that. You know, so I've been in the trenches. I was there when Khalid was at the church, when they stopped being at the Slave Theater. I was there at the Slave Theater when, you know, so, and then an incident happened. And this was like a crossroads for me. This is why I couldn't be a part of the Nation of Islam. My friend was a part of the Nation of Islam, and somebody tried to kill him. And that changed my entire life with the Nation of Islam. That was when I decided I didn't want to be a part of it. So from then on, school, back and forth from Jamaica, doing my thing in the 90s, and entertainment visas and schooling and all that different stuff. And here I am, man. And that's why when Mia Sarnetta was politicking the other day, a couple months ago, about people who he knew, the guy that put him on to what he does. And when he found out I was familiar with them, it became like, wow, you know these people? Yeah, we know each other. And you want to hear something crazy? Where I used to work out at Moth number 7C, we used to train with a national trainer of the Nation of Islam, Moses Powell, and now Anthony Muhammad. Anthony Muhammad trained me personally, right? Truth Storian, who's a part of NDK, used to go to Moth number 7C and train too, and we didn't even know each other, and he used to go to the Slave Theater. So, you know, there's a lot of people I see in the community who knew me from way back then who knows me now. But as far as organization, I'm still a part of the organization. I'm not going to say the name. Still a part of it. But and the brother is now living in Georgia, who's the head of the organization and everything. But it is what it is, and I'm here today, man. I'm here today. I'm here today. So that's Garfield history with the conscious community. And by the way, Brother Polite's video when he was beating up the guy, the Hebrew guy, 125th, that's what got me to start observing the conscious community. Pretty much that's my history.
Well, that's a lot of history, brother. And that's history that we could respect. And let me use the opportunity to say something to you, brother, because I'm not sure how the hell we got off on the wrong foot and what's our issue. But I don't have a personal issue with you, brother. This was a dope live. If more people in the conscious community could fall back from the BS, and I'm even talking about myself, because there's times that I find myself, you know, attacking you. And for me, it's because I felt like I've been attacked. But the community benefits more from dialogues like this. I don't have a personal issue with you. Also, I think we got too much in common. And I think the common goal overall, there's too much at stake for us to be wasting time to be doing videos, daggering one another on a personal level. That should never stop us from going into information and critiquing each other. That's not going to stop. But as far as the personal stuff, brother, I don't have no personal issue with you. I enjoyed you on this platform, and you're welcome anytime, my brother. Your mic is muted, Garfield.
Yeah, there's a guy in the chat by the name of Ahaya Be Praised. I would love to have a dialogue with this dude, but I want to do it on your channel because he's not going to come on my channel. He always come at me and make comments. I really want to have a dialogue with that dude. I'll do it on this channel. I'll do it on a neutral channel or wherever he wants. But I do want to have a dialogue with that dude. Reach out to Zion and get Zion's email, because every time I'm on a video, you make comments and I'm like, why is this dude? He wants to have a dialogue, but you don't want to come out and say it while I'm live or anything. But I do want to say, my brother, we need to have a dialogue. All right. But also, yeah, you're right. I think a lot of things. I think I remember having a conversation with Nazi Yashavel, right? That's not a name we hear a lot lately, but I remember I was doing a course at Concordia, a college course, and he was giving me some advice. And your name came up, and he always said that we need to rectify whatever problems we have. It's not going to be rectified in this live stream. I think we probably need to talk and have a conversation and say, you know what, you did wrong here, I did wrong here, and we both atone in some sort of way or accept what we did. I have not I would not say I am innocent. I don't think I am innocent. And I think when I came in the community, when I saw the video with James Smalls, I think that's what kind of ticked me off, because I know James Smalls from City College. I'm like, damn, man, I remember Team Osiris. I was in Team Osiris at the time, and they was kind of mad, you know, when I said, nah, let me deal with it. They ain't gonna tell you that now, but, you know, because y'all cool. But they said they wanted to deal with it, and I said, nah, let me deal with the scholarship. And that's when me and Rob Bond and us kind of dealt with it without them being involved. And you know, but I think we need to have a conversation. Not today, not today. After the presentation, like a week, 2 weeks from now, we probably can just have a conversation and say, hey, this is where I went wrong, you went wrong, and this is how I feel, and this is how it should be. Because you are right. We shouldn't be at each other's head, because we are extremely, extremely similar in a lot of things outside of what people even know. And Zion has a good heart. That's how I know Zion, as somebody who has a good heart. Sometimes, I mean, you know, we get caught up. I think I got caught up with a lot of stuff with the conscious community in the early time, how they do things. So when people talk, certain things is disrespectful coming out of your mouth, you think it as the norm. You know, I'm like, yo, your head big like rascal coconut, and you know, it might be offensive. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, and I had to adapt to the culture too, because remember, I'm not an American and I'm not from the streets. So there are certain things that disrespectful in talking to people, and I don't know it. I don't know that it's disrespectful, and I see everybody doing it. So I jump in the circle and start saying the shit they saying. So now it gets to another level now. All right.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Let me say this before you say something. I be praised. You asked a simple question. You said, ask Garfield whose the skulls found in the Judean city of Lachish belong to. Bet he doesn't answer. My brother, those people were a mixture of ancient Egyptians, okay, pre-dynastic skulls from ancient Egyptians. And you might ask yourself why? Because the ancient Egyptians built a city in Ashkelon or near Lachish from 3500 BC because they used to trade with the Palestinians. So if the skulls show pre-dynastic ancient Egyptians, well, the people might be connected to the ancient Egyptians because of years upon years upon years and so forth. But who they are, definitely, I can't say 100%. But based on what they said about the skulls, I would more lean toward what the DNA says, and they have DNA also. All right. So to answer your question that you said I won't answer, that's what it is. And your next comment before my brother goes in, let me see it. Garfield knows we're the Israelites, but his money is tied up in saying we ain't. You see, that's the problem. It has to be a conspiracy. When me and Zion have a dialogue, y'all gonna see some stuff that y'all ain't never seen before, because I don't play when it comes to the Israelite claim. I think it's a farce, not as far as people want to make up stuff. I think people honestly believe this. The Rastas believe they are the 12 tribes of Israel. They believe Black Americans are crazy. They feel they are the 12 tribes. Who am I to say they're not? But if you're in America, you have a group saying that the Judah comes from the Black Americans. But what about 2 Kings 18:13 when it says that they were all taken away? Where did they go? Judah. Where did Judah go, according to your text? And what's actually agreed on in archaeology in the Assyrian text? You see, these things show this whole Judah thing is not as much as y'all want to claim Judah. But hey, this is a mixed people, have always been mixed. And what people need to understand is you got to know the chronology of the history, when it was written, where it was written, why it was written, for what purpose it is for, when. You got to answer all these questions: who, what, where, why, and how. And when you can answer those questions, we're going to have a dialogue. And that's going to be my strongest argument against Zion when we have this debate. And Sarnetta, I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't taking no $300. I'll tell you right now, I ain't taking no $300 because you know me, I'm not bound to kill a man. I'll kill him for free. It's better I say I'm gonna kill him for free, but don't put no figure that's crazy out there. Nah, I'm just kidding. So I don't know, he ain't gotta pay me. It's all good.
With that being said, family, I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Shout out to Brother Garfield. Shout out to the Dagger Squad. This was a great bill. Hopefully, we'll have many more. We're going to end the live now, family. Thank you, everyone, for your support. Shout out to those of you who sent donations at the last minute. Garfield, you know my number. Don't forget to message me so I can send you something on behalf of my community, brother.
You know what, bro? Don't even worry about it, man. It's all good. It's all good, man. You deserve that today. That's, you know what I mean? You did some work today. You know what I'm saying? And you deserve it. So don't even worry about it. It's all good. It's all good.
All right.
I appreciate the justice.
All right. Well, much blessings to you, brother. Family, we signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We will be coming back tomorrow morning, and you never know who I might have on, and I will definitely have somebody on. Peace.
All right, peace. All right, my brother. Peace and love.
All right, peace.